Hello and welcome back to another attempt at Absolved Will Be the Seekers, the Chapter 14 story of Arknights. Last time I experienced a very strange situation. I'm not sure. For some reason OBS just plain stopped recording after I finished the first cutscene. No idea what the deal is. I guess the Farron must have crashed into my OBS because my internet was fine. Discord and everything was just applied. Rest assured you didn't miss anything after it disconnected. It basically just ended with the crash. So now we're going to be going through here. Oh, right. We're going on adverse environment to really push myself. I can see absolutely nothing possibly wrong going with this. And don't worry, I have plenty of stamina potions. We're going to be going until I'm too exhausted. Although, since I haven't been going as late as before, who knows? Oh, I was doing Annihilation earlier. I also got the Thorns and Silver Ash skins because those are amazing. I don't know if there's going to be elemental damage or something. That's all.
After our mission's over, why don't we all celebrate together?
Doctor, my public activity with Rhodes Island is better kept on the minimal end.
What's a caster I like here? You know, let's go with Passenger. Oh yeah, I did in fact also get Air Scarp's module. I got all the Lord Guard modules that I could, but I ran out of module blocks. So, which is why Silver Ash is currently lacking his. But I do need to get that because it actually helps a lot with his redeploy talent as well as his general Helidrop powers. Which is pretty nice.
I'm a little nervous. Still, pressure's a good motivator, right?
Things take an unexpected turn as sinister red clouds above the shard cover the battlefield. Mill and Manfred prepares to reclaim the lifeboat. 30 minutes earlier, before the crash, underground structure. You're back. How are things up top? Same as ever. Maybe worse. I used to be scared of those devil mercenaries who ask you for a smoke. The worst you'll get a slap on the face if they feel like it. But now, it's all monsters you can't even describe. They'll turn you into a puddle of blood without so much as blinking. You know what? I've been sleeping better because I know there's nothing but death if I know that there's genuinely nothing but death if I run into one of them. Are the Sarkas still grabbing workers off the streets? Didn't see anything. We didn't dare go too far. Doesn't seem like they're interested in running the city anymore. There's no one maintaining any kind of public order. They couldn't fully occupy Londinium, could they? What use is it to them? Are they really planning to drive the Victorian capital all the way back to Casdale? Who knows? Honestly, I haven't a clue what they're trying to do. Why go through all this trouble if they just want to kill everyone? How sad. Those who betrayed their friends for a better future are soon betrayed by the better future. No one expected things to turn out like this. You know, we didn't mean to. Let me guess, you meant us no harm, but hand us the defense forces out of fear. How kind and gentle. You all deserve a medal. Yeah, she's being a wise ass, and I am all for it. I get when people are desperate, they do whatever they can, but it's, Catherine, save it. I don't have time to dig up old grudges. Not that it would help anything anyway. At least you didn't gift wrap my head in feist and give them to the Sarkas. My question is, what do we do now? We can hide here. We know the underground passage is better than the Sarkas. That's your plan, Tommy? Live underground the rest of your life, like a beast? Why don't you go hide in a coffin, then? I don't blame you for what you did. Given a choice, no one wants to go to war, but war is here now, right in our homes. There's nowhere to run. I ran into a few fellows who said they could get us some decent weapons, I reckon. Is that thunder? where rain would be really nice right now. I've got a lot I want to stream this month, including maybe some catching up on some horror games. Large or small, I'll just take another look, but yeah. I do want to genuinely wish to get through this chapter, but if OBS disconnects randomly like it's been doing, I'm just gonna call it cursed and do it on my own time. Why is it shaking? Is Londinium on the move? With the mobility level is something's not right. Let us head upstairs and see what's happening. Be careful. What is it, Catherine? You're blocking that window. The massive silhouette of the shard is just visible from here. The most familiar sight and pride of all who call Londinium home. But the annoying yet comforting blankets of clouds are nowhere to be seen. Wait, what's that atop the shard? Take all our supplies and contact everyone we can. We need to move deeper underground. Now, hurry! "15 minutes earlier. Silver Rock Bluffs in the outskirts. Duke of Castor. We're approaching Silver Rock Bluffs. That means the attacks will start soon. When I first heard Wellington's plan a few days ago, do you know what my initial reaction was?" Flag Officer, "You thought it too ambitious, Your Grace?" "Ambitious? I think you mean crazy." "Yes, crazy. He wants the entire Allied forces committed to the front lines. 13 dreadnoughts, 45 assault ships, 172 gunboats, 86 transports, 10 support, all artillery, 180,000 infantry, including the entire reserves. It wasn't an inquiry request, it was notice, almost an order. The Duke of Wellington's also abandoned the traditional Gaullist formation of multiple battle lines, instead having all fleets form a single file to penetrate the Nazir line all at once. Gododin and our forces are to be responsible for fire support and clearing out the castles of the Sarkaz rear, while Wellington's vanguard charges the center of the Nazir formation. The Silver Rock Bluffs, currently under Sarkaz control, is a key pass between the Redmane Mountains and Dusko River. A highly defensible position, in other words. The enemy can easily retreat towards Londinium, even if we win. I would have staunchly opposed the plan if it was not Wellington who proposed it. But you and the rest of the high commanders eventually consented to it. We've seen similar tactics in military academies. They're the same tactics used by the legendary Battle of the Four Nations, in which Duke Wellington fought. The Victoria and Lethinian alliance split the Gaulish lines into three and quashed their resistance. That battle put Victoria on a new course for the next several decades. Glorious as it may be, the past is no place to find refuge in. Do you also think the Iron Duke has grown old? Wellington's a military genius. He commands battleships with the same ease and grace as a Lethanian virtuoso. I have never seen anyone quite like him. He is not one of those fools blindly chasing glory of the past. The Sarkaz is not the end, but nearly the beginning of the real battle. As for here and now, it's not just Wellington who needs a decisive victory. The Sarkaz have the shard, and they've successfully fired it before. They could attack us or anywhere in Victoria at any moment. However, our war scholars deem any losses from the Sarkaz catastrophe attacks to be within acceptable limits. Those losses will not compare to our ability to achieve the strategic objective. The Sarkaz have not refueled Londinium since it deviated from its course. The city is immobile as of now. Since we take the pass at Silver Rock, the Sarkaz will no longer have a terrain advantage, and the Allied fleets have a clear path. Indeed, if everything goes well, we'll be able to end this meaningless stalemate as quickly as possible. If they'd worked together and completed it earlier, then it never would have reached this point. Frankly, I'm pretty confident the only reason this is happening now is because the Sarkaz are fine with it, because their plan's already in the final stages. Best case scenario for the Dukes, it's not going to go according to plan. Worst case scenario, the Sarkaz might be, Therasis might be planning this so he can get them all at once with the Doomsday device. Yeah, the word stalemate isn't an apt description of the Sarkaz Victoria. Telegrams from the Castor hold are increasingly impatient. One cannot fault our backers for it. War is far too expensive. A promise fulfilled too late is a promise unfulfilled. And I'm afraid the Dukes have been too late for quite some time. Are those the cans of the Gastrel going off? The Duke of Wellington's attack has begun, but it's not time yet. Your Grace, what's that red light coming from the distance? That light, it's coming from the top of the shard. Hail Wellington right now. We must... Oh my. It seems it's already too late. Ow. 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 Doctor, are you okay? The doctor will be fine. Monster absorbed the majority of the brunt of the impact. How are the others? Well, the good news is we fell into a canyon. Our precise location's uncertain, but we're at least a distance from the worst of the fighting. Closure, Horn, and Siege have gone out to scout. You should be briefed on the specifics soon. We're still assessing our personnel and equipment losses. Preliminary reports indicate pre-impact measures were effective and losses acceptable. Medical and engineering units are already at work. I'm afraid there's been some troubling development. The sky, it's red. Watch your step and keep with us, Doctor. Dang, I always love when they have the key art here. Suffering extends its reach to every corner the eye can see. From the top of the shard, Originium spreads like a plague, devouring, assimilating. Building ships and armies, the Originium's devouring expands. An unprecedented calamity indeed, one that puts even the most terrifying catastrophes to shame, and yet an army marches through the roiling Originium crystals, its tattered banner visible even from here. Suffering is but a marching order for the Sarkaz. The ever-hungry procession Sarkaz advances to the horns of wailing, sinking their teeth and claws into any enemy they find. Blood-stained boulders litter the wasteland as far as the eye can see, looking decidedly out of place. The whipping winds have ceased, giving way to rising fog. The withered grass remains unstirred, yet countless tattered bandages already dangle across. Those Sarkaz warriors stand in line, soundless and motionless, waiting for the embodiment of death and decay, the master of war, their king. A withered figure emerges from the death-filled fog, the Najir king. On the hills he stands, through the swamps he passes, out of the fog he glides, through wind and sand rising from the withered grass, and upon the art's ritual circle he descends. Tattered stripes of cloth fall to the blood-filled columns like a bony hand caressing a tombstone. Only the most seasoned warriors recognize the Najir's tattered ribbons, like the banners of Kasdel's halls, belong to the generations of ancient Sarkaz tribes. Their form ragged, their symbols unrecognizable, but the scent of war unmistakable. Najalam, Drukaria, Regent's Crimson, Prince of Blood, we're never close, but the contribution you and your blood made to the war is undeniable. I bear witness to your glory and shame. Slayer of Ferament in the Mist, Jailer of Time, Usurper of the Royal Court, Executioner of Kings. You denied the path we now walk, as you denied the meaning of the Black Crown, but you gave your first and final drop of blood to the Sarkaz. Your power shall not fade away, nor shall your anger, hatred, or ambition. He spreads his arms wide, a black fog of decay rises, swallowing every boulder. The red fades in the sand and dirt, vanishing the mist. The warriors do not speak, but the earth begins to rumble as ancient witchcraft spreads across the battlefield. War, we nourish you with our best. Their blood and bones at your behest. We are the living and the dead. Together we march as one. The black fog dissipates. The drop of blood forms the top of Nezshalim's staff. The purest blood, the only blood that death and decay cannot touch. This is the blood of the Tikaz. It evoked the call of Amnanam, but it was lost in the battle art's circles. The Confessari searched Evaneum without finding it. But Nezshalim, your highness, you found it for the Regent. The drop of red liquid drifts towards Solace and enters her wrist. Keep it safe, Confessarius. Of course, I vow to protect it with all the strength of my bloodline. My life. Yeah, the Confessari are really nasty. They have children and then basically body steal from them, like that one episode of Batman Beyond, if you're familiar. The vampire art circles are still active. Well, the sanguinarch of vampires, the purest bloodline, the cruelest of sovereigns, and pride of Sarkaz. Did he really die so easily at the hands of the young Banshee and the rabbit? He has not joined the myriad souls, but away he has drifted. Ah, yeah. Because we defeated him in that pocket dimension, he is just stuck there. May not be dead, but perhaps that might actually be better, because if he was in the myriad souls, they might be able to hear him or contact him or something. What a shame to waste so much blood. Meddler of bloodlines, do not desecrate war and death with your flippant insolence. Apologies, Your Highness, I was merely lamenting the loss of the Sanguinarch. Hey, if we finally have finally beat a boss and they stay defeated, I'd call that one of the really good. And let us keep his legacy safe. His blood will continue to fight with us. Of that I have no doubt, Sovereign of the Withered Court. The blood of the T-Kaz will fulfill its duty. If a mere tremble of Ananam is enough to burn the heavens red and bring the upheaval of the earth, then its final descent shall free our fate from the manipulation of Originium, as the myriad souls have so longed for. Fate. War will crush all obstacles beneath its heel, even fate itself. Yeah, they're clearly using gender-neutral pronouns to hide the Najir King's true self. It could mean anything, so let's be careful. Then again, they could take off the mask and reveal a waifu all along. For better or for worse, they do have to make sure there's a decent supply of those. The Deadwood Throne rises, attended by innumerable war altars, casting a massive shadow on the battlefield. The silent columns of warriors step into the strange catastrophe, continuing their advance. We will advance before the storm, both the living and the dead. This war belongs to all, Sarkaz. Manfred, a new beginning. Another quote from one of the sovereigns, General. No. I was simply reminded of the furnace at the center of Kazdel. Oh, the big one. I witnessed many feedings before I came to Londinium. It's an honor for a fallen warrior to be fed to it, becoming the fire that propels our progress. But it never seems to be sated. Small wonder, the flames of the Revenant's rage can only ever burn stronger. Dean, would you call the nomadic city by the name of Kazdel your home? What's the meaning behind the question, sir, when the final battle has already begun? I was raised in the battlefields outside of Kazdel. The black rocks and bones of my fellow Najir are the only things that buried beneath the city's walls and hills. Where is home if not Kazdel? Yes, whatever answer could there be? The future is lined with uncertainties, but this much we know. The war ends where a new beginning emerges. I will admit, I was surprised that Manfred got a lot more development than I was expecting from the Babel event, which makes me wonder, is he going to remain a major boss here, or is he going to switch sides and become playable? Anything is possible, I suppose. If so, he's probably going to be a Mechacord, and I'd approve. Mechacords are fun. Have you made contact with Usala? No, they were very thorough in mopping up in Brentwood. Just as you predicted, our casters have picked up a trail of the Farenmut Skeleton's movement. They consider attacking Londinium, attacking the Shard directly. I gave them a chance. Far too many chances. There's no question that Major Sala has been negligent in her duty. She had better have a good explanation. If she lives to explain, anyways. Yeah, as far as they know, she could have already been killed by our troops. Have you located the skeleton? We have a rough idea of its location, but it will take time to find it in this vast battlefield. Shall I take a squad there personally? No, I will. We will retake the Farenmut spine and destroy it. It must not fall into the wrong hands again. You're going yourself? Those mercenaries have interfered too much. They must be eliminated. For that, though, we must finish the ritual. Our Najir ritual? I didn't think you cared that much for tradition. Cyclops, Lich, Wendigo, Banshee, more and more have left. Yeah, the Cyclops are so rare only a handful exist anymore. They're thought to be extinct, but they're not quite yet. Liches are doing their own thing. Bulldocus T was explicitly the last Wendigo, and he's dead, so they're also extinct. Banshee, well, since Logos is on our side, the Banshees are going to side with him. And the Diabolos have been extinct for a while. Even Ifrit is technically an artificial Diabolos. Recreated. headed through mad science, so she's a bit of a special case. You've never seen the royal carts and castle, have you, young Nazir? I suppose not, no. Other than the Nazir, it's mostly been vampires. Not the best neighbors, but you start to miss their smell when you spend enough time in Londinium. The blood of the fallen has returned to the earth. There'll be no new prince of the Crimson Court. How many sovereigns do the Sarkas have left? Right. The Sanguinarch was hoping to kill Amie in that pocket dimension so that there would no longer be a Sarkas king anymore, even though he knew the others would be pissed off at him for it, since, you know, they want to take it for themselves. But since he was defeated, it seems his plan accidentally got turned against him, and they cannot raise a new Sanguinarch. Logistic command. We've encountered a catastrophe near Sulfuric Chasm. At least I think it is. It's being drowned in a tide of originium. The ship's lost power, weapon systems damaged, all systems inoperative. Defense systems offline, no response from the arts unit. I repeat, all systems inoperative. Enemy spotted, taking heavy fire, mobile arts device. Data, automatic record. None of these messages have made it out. The entire communication system scrap. And to think so many have died to protect this precious little box. I salute you. Phew, that bow hurt. I shouldn't take my hat off. Our foes unpredictable, aren't they? There's enough intel about the Shard to fill an entire building. But you and I must take the blame for our present circumstances. The man in a hat looks down at his counterpart. The man on the ground lies motionless, buried to his chest in crystal-filled dirt. The little box he clutches in his left hand remains spotless. The Trilby Asher puts the rim of his comrade's hat, fallen comrade's hat down, covering the face of the no one knew to begin with. It took a little more effort to retrieve the communicator, but the war has made him rather proficient, Undertaker. Intel retrieved. Communications are still being jammed by severe interference. A little progress is better than nothing, I suppose. The Duke of Fife and 6th Infantry Battalion were ambushed. The landing attempt at the Crumley Plate has failed. Unable to reach the Duke of Gododin's scout fleet. Chetley has been lost. Large-scale unanticipated geological changes on Silver Rock front. Active originium concentration above threshold. No good news. Are those troops? The ID code is my, what a miracle. I'm a lucky man indeed. Seems his luck finally ran out.
Let's go!
Oh, lovely. What's all this? That tornado's dealing damage, and I do not like it. We'll open with Saga. Right, I need to open with Saga. Oh, those the slugs are just noping out of there. Can't blame them. Whatever this is, it's not good for anyone.
Down to work.
What's this? That's an SP recovery, so let's help speed up Thorns' How does Silver Ash's new skin look? Let's look at that.
Acknowledged.
Oh, not bad, actually. Oh my, that's a lot of damage. Medic.
Or perish.
I can afford to lose... Not Thorns. Okay, I can afford to lose Thorns, apparently. Deals arts damage when inside originium pollution. Ah, I see it absorbed that stuff over there. That's mildly a pain.
Arrived at designated position. Treatment target sighted.
Be ready at a moment's notice with the info I send back.
I've got a way to treat you here.
Let's begin. Your life is
I'm pretty sure
mine
that's
to
arts
protect.
damage, so crap.
What are you planning? The fool flaunting his gallantry reaches none with his vanity.
Oh my, you're really gonna make me work for this, aren't you?
To tremble in my music
is your honor.
Zerny, I'm not as worried about because he actually has actual arts resistance. So.
Shall I open? Shall I close? Shut up, or else!
At least Silver Ash being on the team means everyone has some nice. Alright, so the pollution won't go all the way to the blue box. Interesting.
Flourish or perish? Yes, your life is mine to protect.
Shall I close? Shut up, or else!
Right, with enemies nearby, he charges extremely slowly. Yeah, Passenger's really suffering without his module effect to increase his SP gains because he has a really, really horrendous kill cycle. There we are. Yeah, was a lot better if I had built up earlier. Crap, I have no idea how I passed that. 3 hours later. No sign of the Sarkaz troops. Siege receive intelligence. So, well, I just understand the battlefield and plans. Life Bone's a big target, and we would have left an even bigger trail behind us as we fell. I'm afraid they'll catch up sooner or later. Closure, can you confirm our position? I can only really get an approximate orientation with these maps I got in hand. Damn it, still no response. Ever since the skeleton crashed, our comms went down with it. My drones can't fly too far either. I've never seen this much interference before. Wait, I think the drone just found something. Over there! What's this, a voice recorder? Makes sense, on a battlefield like this is the best way to relay intel, short of just shouting. That's a Duke of Castor's crest. Let me have a look. Zzzt. I'm short on time, so I'll make it brief. Stone of the Sword has arrived at Silver Rock. But the sarcasm and their tricks are worse than we thought here at the front line. My advice is to head to the battle to the southwest and bring the sword. I've honored my vow. The rest is up to you, Your Highness. No change, no improvement. Can you tell your new pal that if it doesn't get back on its ass soon, I'm gonna break whatever bones it's got left, one by one? It's long dead, not like it can feel pain. Why not pick something more meaningful to vent about? The skeleton's voice was already ebbing. After the crash, it stopped responding altogether. The nerve bundles are withering. We've tried everything. Lubricants, supplements, even some crazy witchcraft I've never heard of before. My verdict is... yeah, right now it's nothing more than a colossal and unbreakable skeleton. It can't be dead, can it? I mean, it's already a dead Ferryman. You're telling me it can die again? Hey, Inez, pass the mine over here, with the one wedged between the bones. Glad you asked. Nearly stepped on it. Also, what kind of psychotic idea do you have this time? Oh, just following your suggestion. I'm gonna find a proper target to blow up. Isn't that old friend of yours supposed to be the skeleton whisperer or something? I'm sure she's got an unbroken rib or two, so she should be able to talk. Maybe. Well, she will if she knows what's good for her. Asala, she does know plenty about the Fahrenmut's secrets, and it's clear she hasn't told us everything. But I have the feeling she won't be able to help with this particular problem. Right, the source of our troubles is what's hidden in those dark red clouds above our heads. That's exactly it. Ah, the all-knowing Calcit. Let me guess, you've got even more bad news for us? Regular catastrophes have no effects on Fahrenmuts, even if it happens to be one that's been dead for centuries. The tunnels that it travels in can even drill through time, so how is it that a storm can seal them off? What's happening here is beyond the scope of a mere catastrophe. As we were falling, I had a vague feeling that enormous ancient sentience remaining in these bones has gone somewhere I could not touch. It died its true death then? Our connection with it's been severed. It might only be temporary, but if we take too long, we might lose control for good. Your deduction is correct. Upon inspection, Logos confirmed the Sarkaz witchcraft cast is being disrupted by a massive source of energy. It seems the vampire's ritual was completed. The Confessarius, I'm never going to pronounce that correctly, is aiding Therasis and has achieved what the Sarkaz could not for a millennia. Ancient Sarkaz language, Amnanam, an ancient wound that refuses to heal, the Kunambala of suffering. Mind skipping the part we can actually understand? I don't have all day. It was the first curse, just as it was the first Originium. Isn't that just a legend, you know, the made-up kind, the storybooks that Hodor loves to read? Right, Hodor is actually a huge nerd, I forgot. Legends are a shadow of reality, despite all the untruths and half-lies painted over them. To say nothing of the fact there's a Sarkaz legend, rather, a Tikaz legend. Sounds to me like Theris is cooking up some real serious B-shit to hang over Victoria. I fear this too is the reason he chose Londinium as the base of operations. The Shard's ability to influence catastrophes in Originium is already sufficient for it to become Anon's beacon. All across Terra, as it is now, this is the one place that it can descend. Well, out with it then. How do we wreck the thing? At Terra's current level of technology, there's nothing we can do. The only good news is that it has not fully descended. Have we figured something out, Logos? The drop of blood the vampire possesses, the one he calls the blood of Tikaz, is still fulfilling its duty. The reason why Amnanam is able to leap across millennia and descend once more is because of his prayer. The blood's master has fallen, but the connecting veins hold steady. If we are to prevent the re-emergence on this land, we must break the vampire's curse, quelling the hatred that resides in this drop of blood. I think I can give it a try. It was a blighted battle with the vampire, and its influence on me has not yet waned. By virtue of this, I am able to sense where the blood of Tikaz is. It is in the rear of the Nashir army. It will likely be protected in a Confessarius altar and heavily guarded. The amount of time required to break through the entire Nashir defensive line would be too much. We could cross the Red Mane Mountains, bypassing most of the warp zone. Taking that route carries a similar risk of storming the battlefield. Our observational reports indicate that the mountains have been completely transformed by Anem's influence. They are now blanketed in active Originium. I need not remind you of its extreme danger, but it might be possible. Shining has gone ahead to seek out Kisarja. If things go well for her, she should be able to come to our aid. I support the doctor's decision. It's a plan that saves us the most time. Yeah, the fastest between two is straight through, especially when it's between a rock and a hard place anyways. If we keep delaying until the Anonymous Dr. Calcet speak of completes its descent and it's used by Theris as a weapon, we'll have lost any chance we might have had to turn the tide. Even if there are risks, we must forge ahead. I'll need your help, W. You need some hands to guard this pile of bones, right, Bunny? Right. The skeleton is crucial to our next operation, and besides, Hodor needs it too. There's no doubt the military commission's been watching over us since we crashed. The way I see it, it makes no sense to hand back something we fought so hard to steal in the first place. Give it a time frame. Let's see. Time now is 1800 hours. 3 days. The surrounding terrain's been completely transformed. We'll need to pass through a wasteland filled with unknown dangers. Given also the fact that battles will be inevitable, I estimate at least 3 days to handle the blood of Tikaz. An immobile skeleton makes for an extremely conspicuous objective. Guarding the site will not necessarily be easier than the raid you carried out upon it. I propose that Ascalon stay to protect the lifebone. Oh, but my job is to stay by your side and keep you safe, Doctor. During the Sanguinarch attack, it was my error that led to your injury, and a dangerous mistake I do not intend on repeating. The lifebone is vital, and Manfred is likely to order an assault. You understand him well. Since Ascalon was the raid-up unit, was the big release for Babel, her backstory was revealed there, and it had a lot more Manfred than I was expecting. True, the previous chapters implied they had some sort of history, but this is the first time it was ever spelled out. And it's a lot more interesting than I thought it would be, that's for sure. I agree. The Sarkas will be reliant on their commander personally overseeing the battle and making decisions. If you're able to stem Manfred's advance, it might relieve pressure on the mercenaries. I will respect your decision. And what about the gang of useless Victorians? They going with you? We will head to the front lines at Silver Rock. Wait, are you saying you want to just lead a couple thousand men, some who are just civilians who barely ever held a weapon, straight into battle with a Narisher army? You have your legend Sarkans and we have ours. We have the Sigh of Kings, a blade that can leave catastrophes in twain. And since the Sarkas have controlled the storm, it's time the sword play its part. Yeah, right now the sword has been just a regular piece of metal, but the fact that Duke of Castor's been trying to pull so many tricks, including trying to just straight up take it, it means it has to be a lot more than that. No one would go through all that effort to obtain something that isn't actually valuable. It has to be a key here, and it has to be in a way that would turn the tide. You've been contacted by the Duke of Castor, an invitation to be precise. It's as we surmise, since the Sarkas began their strange doings, the Victorians, or rather the Ducal Alliance, have been heavily hit. Castor, no, any Grand Duke ought to have figured out now exactly the kind of circumstances Victoria's found itself in. We all have seen these altars spewing a red light, or any light for that matter. As it stands, Londinium and all the battlefields surrounding it have become a giant art circle. This is how the Sarkas fight, not like Lithuanian or Earthus, not like any other nation's tactics we're familiar with. Right, it's like that one episode of Full Metal Alchemist where the entire city was one big magic circle. The Trilby Ashers will have told Castor that all the intelligence they've gathered so far is useless when it comes to Sarkas tactics. The Sigh of Kings, no longer will this piece of steel I hold be merely a leverage to get Castor back on negotiation table. It will turn the tide of war, bringing true change to the battlefield. None of us knows when the next catastrophe will strike. I don't know what form Castor's Stone of the Sword will take, but no matter if it's a square room on the wheels or an odd contraption with an officer's back, I'll find it. If we can quiet these storms, I dare say the battle becomes somewhat more evenly matched. From the chasm to the front lines of Silver Rock, it'll take you 2 days, even if you follow the road that the Dukes have cleared from the westbound forest to Gibsonham. The Duke of Castor will be more than happy to snatch away the Sigh of Kings if afforded the opportunity. It would allow her to lead the Dukes in this difficult war and move one step closer to the throne, and she will not be the only one attempting to do so. I am aware. The Duke of Windermere has died in combat, and her troops have retreated from battle. If any other Duke retreats, the scales of war will be tipped even more. The war will drag on, and Londinium's restoration will be delayed, and the more blood will be shed. For Sarkas and Victorian alike, this battle will determine our ultimate fate. And that's for us, we are the exemplars. Whatever a miracle is needed most, it is where we will be. Besides, if the sword can really calm the storms, as legends say, I dare say it would help speed along our journey to Londinium after all this. Closure? How did you know I was done with my preparations? To keep things short, your ever-reliable chief engineer Closure and her team have come up with 7 different plans to get around the comms interference. This equipment of mine has also started analyzing the super catastrophe's trends and impacts. The Originium-triggered reactions always leave a trail, no matter how intense they are. Things like dust concentration, heavy index, activity index, and those spread conditions. Well, I'm sorry to say that all these metrics are pretty high as expected, so we can tell what's going to happen in the most dangerous regions. We can deduce which parts of the battlefield are safer, relatively. That is, of course, we can go deeper in the heart of this and obtain more data. Misery's agreed to be our bodyguard, but since you guys are already heading over to where most of the action's going to be, I figured might as well tag along. So, could we trouble the exemplars look after us? Gladly, we are duty-bound. Make sure things don't get any worse in Rhodes Island's mission, alright, Calcit? Thank you, Closure. Doctor? Let's both go with Amia. Our path might be the most dangerous one of all, but I'll keep you safe, Doctor, like always. I know you fear for the safety of each and every operator, which makes you hesitant to choose, but the truth is I need you to come with me. I had the feeling we'd have to go with Calcit and Amia no matter what, but at the same time, since theirs is clearly the most dangerous of all, that's why we need to be there. So we can deal with the Ultra problem? There's no changing what we'll face during our final confrontation. Originium has been shaped by the history of Sarkas, just as it will... Originium has shaped the history of Sarkas, just as it will shape the future of us all. Perhaps you still have misgivings as to why Rhodes Island must intervene in this war. I did not have the opportunity to explain the past, nor could I give you a precise answer. I have never doubted the dark clouds above the shard concealed some dreadful unknown. Yet when it has revealed itself, as now, I find myself confronted by mixed emotions. I'm not one to explore the subject of fate, especially not yours and mine, but now fate has reared its ugly head and it's coming our way. Calcie, you don't sound like your usual self. Originium's effects are far beyond any of our comprehension. Ours, even yours. Of course, Doctor, I hope. No, I believe that you are still the one who can change everything. Never had any doubts either. Doctor, I should get going now. Alright, let's go. Not gonna ask me for a 21-gun salute? Take care, W. Look, little bunny, not like the little sheep over there. I'm really hard to kill. The exemplars are ready. Glad to hear it, Siege. Remember, everyone, time's of the essence. But every minute, every second on the battlefield, there will be people who are suffering because of Originium, and our mission's clearer than ever. Stop the spread of the Originium and stop Anonum. Right. And even then, we plunge into the darkest depths of the fog. To Londinium. We'll bomb that tower and grab Terra's biggest bastard out of the rubble. We'll stop the disaster before us and any yet to come.
Not bad. I see something promising you.
Ah, feels good beating on a verse, but dang. Yeah, they're bringing out the big guns. I'm guessing that's specifically to get you to have to retry it. I must say, the update to make, on that note, I'm really glad that the challenge mode nerf so that it doesn't eat half the stamina to go through it is, that just feels a lot better. I don't know what, it was really dumb before how if you fail a challenge mode, you lose half of your stamina that you attempt in the attempt. Regular stages, you only lose 1, which of course is fine. It encourages you to, it still encourages experimentation and all that. But challenge mode basically just such, you can only try it a fraction of the times if you mess up basically, which discourages experimentation and of course is the reason a lot of people resort to guides, especially if they don't have all the meta 6 stars and all that. Alright, so here we get to learn. Let me grab a sip of my drink real quick. I'm gonna go tonight as far as I can. I'm hoping to at least get 5 so I have something I can farm while I'm not doing the story, but we'll see. Like I said, if OBS decides to have a problem again, I'm just gonna say this is cursed and move on because there's a lot I want to do this month.
Standing by.
I don't feel so good. There's a lot of activated Originium here. That's because you're in an area contaminated by Originium pollution. These are common on battlefields in the outskirts of Londinium. Operators deployed will take continuous damage and have reduced SP. Try to avoid them when deploying. Oh yeah, interesting. This also means that ones with an not with an auto recovery, but with a hit offensive or defensive recovery have the advantage because those are unaffected by things that reduce SP gains. What's that storm? It's like it's heading straight for us. That's an active Originium storm conjured by enemy arts. It has the same effect as pollution, but even stronger. Active Originium, why is it headed our way? It seems to be drawn to the withered altar. So that's an altar, eh? The storm expanded? Correct, it grows stronger when absorbs active in the path. Yeah, I saw that it was growing bigger as it went through those others. And worst part is, it doesn't seem like putting an operator on it eats it or stops it, like with the corrupted ground from Stultify Novice. We're in real danger here, Instructor. How do we deal with this? Calm down, Jessica. We can deploy a new withered altar in another direction to draw it away from us once more. Leave this to me and Instructor Doberman. High-risk jobs are my specialty.
You have violated the fire regulation.
Whatever you say.
Hey, catch.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a spot to heal. spot heals, if you will.
You have violated the fire regulation.
Squirrely squirrel.
You have violated the fire regulation. Understood.
I'd considered raising Shaw at one point, but sadly, due to being 4-star, she doesn't get the push strength that the 5 and 6-star pushers do, unfortunately, which is why I stick to F-Eater. Alright, so yeah, we're gonna want Nightingale here. It's extremely cheap that I'm using all these 6 stars, but the game's... if the game's not holding back, neither will I. Actually, I might want to bring Lessing here.
I accept this job as a valuable training opportunity.
SP boosters probably gonna be worth.
Squad 11 of Self-Salvation Corps, joining up with Rhodes Island.
Let's have some fun with Valarquin.
As foretold.
Valarquin being a Cyclops Sarkaz is a pretty big deal, because like I said, they're supposed to be so rare that some seriously thought they were extinct. The Rhodes Islanders search for the blood, a key influence. Greeted. 13 hours into the operation. Dang, quick travel. Well, he really is in every game nowadays. The further we go, the more dire the situation becomes. Freshly rent canyons, diverted rivers, pathways that withstood the weight of great nomadic cities now torn, distorted, warped beyond recognition. The maps of the past are now no more than scrap paper. Every trail must be charted anew. There's no doubt the blood of Tikaz is this way, though. Our bond yet hums. The closer we get to the heart of the battlefield, the higher the rate Orginium integrates with all information. The rocks, soil, people. The influence has its clutch on virtually everything in Terra, yet perhaps we have long forgotten the fundamental principles of how it works. What do you mean by the information just now, Calcit? Perhaps you shall find out rather soon, Doctor. Or maybe, no, never mind. Objectively speaking, this Orginium-contaminated terrain does give it tactical advantages to Theros' military operations. In contrast, the Victorian front is all but shattered. But this level of Originium activity still pales in comparison to the catastrophe strike earlier. Theros will never use Originium so recklessly just to gain a slight tactical advantage. This much I know of him. He knows the consequences. Sounds like we're in for a difficult journey, then. There's a vehicle heading this way. Halt. The truck shudders to a stop, and several familiar faces come out. Master Banshee, the King of Sarkaz. I told you we shouldn't have taken this road. We can't run away now. Well, it's not like they're bad guys. Weren't you supposed to stay at the Lifebone? I'll be honest here. Master Banshee, Your Highness, we were scared, terrified, having to stay inside the skeleton, not knowing who would be running over the hills, so we ran. I know the desertion's a crime, but we're never going to be any use, were we? So I beseech you, please don't execute us. We'll happily take the whip, however many lashings. I'm not going to execute you. I never demanded that you fight for me. If you want to go, you may go. Thank you so much, Your Highness. You're wise and merciful. Can we just 3 go along with you? Say no more. Her Highness has already done incredible kindness by sparing our lives. You demand more? Don't be a fool, shopkeep. How much of a chance do you think the 3 of us and a broken truck's got? We'd probably get blown up by a bomb, or even worse. Your Highness, this is my humble request. Please, get us off the battlefield. I'll give you everything. As long as these 2 live, I'll swear my fealty. No, that's not the issue here. If you were to follow us, I'm sorry to say, that'd be just as dangerous. What do you think we should do, Doctor? I can't imagine they'll survive their battlefield on their own. Very well then, driver. We can travel together for a time. After we pass the war zone, you should leave Victoria once and for all. Thank you. My deepest gratitude, and please use our transport. It should carry us far enough. Oh, King of Sarkaz is the most magnanimous soul. I truly don't know how to pray the kindness. The coin. Huh? The coin I gave you. I forgot about that. Good thing I didn't drop it here for you. I was wrong to beg it of you. It is my honor to serve Banshee Lord. How could I expect payment of such a privilege? Oh, what's that say? You really wanted your coin back. I hope you don't think me a miser. I need to ensure they're not imposters. Ah, that's a good point. Yeah, Logos was off. When Logos asked for, I figure, is he planning to use it as a ritual or something? But no, the reason he wanted to is make sure they were the same ones as before. You need not fear, I hold no malice against you. Logos moves his finger and the coin in his palm vanishes only to reappear Shopkeep's hand. Shopkeep stares, at first quaking and shaking, and then at the coin, finally back the Banshee. Was that a magic trick? Delightful, a man of many talents, sire. I better help a driver get the car. Tough crowd, huh? I saw Scout and Outcast demonstrate it several times, but I could never quite get the movements right. It's my lack of skill that made for a lackluster effect. I've never seen that side of you. Doctor, there are times when I also regret the fact many of our shared memories disappeared into that ether. As we never did talk about the past much. I guess the time never came up. If we ever find ourselves time to reminisce after this ordeal, perhaps we'll be pleasantly surprised by anecdotes of your past. But for now, we must go. Right. Logos was also briefly in the Babel event. He was not yet the king of banshees at the time, but he was clearly going to beat one. After all, his mother was the previous one. There's no sound here. The stillness is strange. I can't hear the sound of breathing or the vehicle's engine. I can't even hear my own heartbeat. Is this some kind of Originium arts? Could someone have blocked all the sounds in the vicinity to conceal themselves? No, Amia, listen carefully. It's not the sound has forsaken this place. Instead, there's a great, tremendous roar, so great that it drowns out its lessers. It's the deafening cry of death itself. Look over there, that leaf. Leaf hangs from the lowest branch, its surface tinted with a vibrant yet bizarre colors, like the work of a haphazard artist, or sunlight reflecting the puddle of grease. Like the vestiges of some sort of arts, perhaps? It is rotting. Decay unhinges its maw, gnawing at all in sight, leaving behind only iridescent bite marks. With a few seconds, a sprightly yet strange coloration spreads across the entire plant and even other bushes. The once succulent leaves become drips of foaming liquid, leaving behind only bare vein networks quivering in the wind. Ugh. So it's like scarlet rot from Elden Ring. That's awful. Just like a fish's skeleton after its flesh has been picked clean, unceremoniously discarded. The wind rises as if wanting to tear at their skin. It's the sight of an unsatiated beast. Logos, the marsh! Silver incantations flow forth, plunging the depths of the marsh. Did you manage to stop it? No, I didn't. Oh dear. The muffled sound of water sloshing. Ripples from the marsh, echoing about in deathly silence. Is the background animated, or is my... Is the background animated, or are my eyes just twitching or something? It seems fine now. Sound of a foot pulling from the ooze, stepping down, steady, unseen, steps churn the muddy water topping the shore. Prepare for battle, stay where I can see you, Doctor. A bluey. Black arch shoot in the marsh, but the burst of sound quickly dies down as though swallowed up. Steps begin again, the rhythm unchanging, the resolve unyielding. The tattered hem floats above the surface of the water as the ripples crash, and the ripples become a chaotic jumble of lines and shapes. Monster! Cautious growl. A dazzling beam of light spews from Monster's mouth, but the shining lance is lost amid the swamp. The slow sloshing changes. Ah. A series of hurried footsteps erupt. All lost sounds return once more. A brilliant cacophony, an ear-splitting din. A Nazirer. Death has come for you all. Stay back, you whoever you are. Look out! Cage. A pseudoram. A burial shroud wrapped in around a corpse. His body is already rotten away. Conventional attacks will have no real effect. This is a form of witchcraft innate to the Nazir, or possibly an ancient tradition. Nazirs devour life to nourish their bodies, but all bodies have an end. Once at the cusp of that end, powerful Nazirs nourish weaker ones with their flesh, gaining unfathomable speed and strength. alongside witchcraft energy no ordinary body could bear. In doing so, they become even more powerful, while their nourishment allows the Niger society to sustain and grow. Just as fallen leaves nourish land, and land supports new lives, an eternal cycle. Blood. The muddy water of the swamp rise swiftly like a curtain, immersing the Niger up to his torso. In the same time, the incantations wend and weave their way around the group, holding back the rot's incessant bite. Over there, quick, we'll head to the forest. Don't step on the mud. Got it. Floor is lava. With the swamp rising, or perhaps the mist sinking, the dark ground becomes a gaping mouth trying to engulf all. The group struggles to the mire, each breath growing more labored. The singular thought rises to the collective mind. Living is a tedious and futile effort compared to the peaceful eternal slumber that awaits. They simply turn around and embrace death. Monster, protect the doctor. Urgent growl. He's here! The only sound they hear is the whistling of corroded blade as it swings down. The Niger, the one who walks alongside death, has arrived before them. Piercing cry. Did Monster also feel pain? All life withers before his arts. If we're caught in the Niger's witchcraft, our life force will be sapped to become its nourishment. He's fast. Did he come from the mud, from a tree? Either is possible. From life to death, blossom to wither, they draw upon the entire life cycle, turning its seeds to produce new Nigers. Kind of like a zombie, I guess. I can feel it, the unending flow of witchcraft energy flooding towards us. It's not just from the enemy, it's from the marsh amid the trees, everywhere. We've been wrapped in the Niger's shroud. By his hands, death hangs above our very heads. Only by tearing apart this barrier of witchcraft can we defeat him. Minor, Mabutai? He's tired, his shopkeep. Here, hold on to me so we don't get separated. Driver, hold my hand. Whatever you do, don't fall. She's fading. I can't hold her up. Ordinary healing techniques will not help. The Niger witchcraft is devouring. Oh, leave me. I'll only hold you back. You can let go of us. I know if it wasn't for us, you and Banshee could fight more easily. No, I promised I'd get you out of the battlefield, so we're in this together. Is that so? Good. The scent of blood, it permeates the air. It's drivers and the others' wounds. No, this blood is witchcraft. As in a vampire, the forest has Nigers and vampires? Thin fog of blood floats around them. It's different from the Prince of Blood's arts they witnessed before. It's subtle, like delicate strands of silk, nearly smothered in all-encompassing mist. But it's these silken strands that slightly stir the stagnant air. Amiya, feel the flow of wind. I will expose the weave of the shroud and locate its weakest point. Got it. The black arts gather before Amiya's body, condensing into a spear. Logos raises his hand, pointing at the depths of the thick fog. Pierce. Dull growl, herald of death. You resist the spread of rot. But to no avail. In the end, death will claim your corpse. I've never once doubted that. Disperse. His giant blade falls, sticking into the soil like a gravestone. The Niger's shroud flutters and billows. In an instant, his imposing figure disintegrates, leaving behind only several tattered strips of cloth. Is he dead? I can finally breathe. Clack. The sound of bone scraping against bone. A withered hand stretches out of the mud. Ah! Watch out! Fell apart? Looks like it to me. Phew, when did you become such a badass driver? Shouldn't we keep going, Your Highness? Yes, it's best we leave at once, before the Niger reawakens and catch up with us again. Now, between vampires, banshees, and stuff, you can kind of see a theme the Sarkaz have, which I guess also might explain why they have such a negative reputation. I wasn't expecting a vampiric art circle here. It's still working. Those vampiric arts suddenly appears we are fighting the Sudaram. Was it because of the circle? I'm afraid it's not that simple. I'm sure you're well aware, Amiya, those arts were cast by a vampire. Perhaps a descendant of a vampire, then? I assume that while the Sanguine Arc has been taken off the battlefield, the gifts he's bestowed will not so easily fade away. It doesn't matter, I'll do my best to put these corrupted lives to rest as I've done before. Logos, could you please assist me? Amiya? Sound becomes ever clearer, coming from the bloodstained boulders. It's a sound of limbs dragging, a sound they've heard countless times in previous battles. Amiya notices the expression on Logos' face. He looks not at the stone columns, but Amiya, a trace of motion flitting across his eyes. It's sorrow. She recognized it. She's felt sorrow countless times since the war began, sometimes from an enemy, mostly from companions. Driver. Your Highness. When did this happen? Was it while we were facing the Nezhir? Yes. When we left the skeleton, I brought along a rock the military commission orders to transport. I thought since it made us stronger before, it'd come handy in the battle. It did help, huh? I never dared to imagine that I could fight alongside you and defeat that strange enemy. You used a blood crystal left behind by a vampire. Did you pierce your body with it? No, that wouldn't have induced such a drastic change. You swallowed some fragments. You willingly accepted Ducariel's blood and arts. I've always had the vampire bloodline, even though it's pretty faint by now. But I could still sense the sanguine arch call, even if it felt like nothing more than a whisper. I've seen those worms crawl out of Sarkaz's corpses, so there's no need to pity me for not knowing the consequences. Instead of dying in a gutter like a real worm, I'd rather accept this power and die on the battlefield, like a real Sarkaz. This isn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. A few months ago, while driving aimlessly, I heard a broadcast about what was happening in Londinium, and somehow I just drove here. Shopkeep says I read too many stories about knights. That's rubbish. Everyone knows Kazdel doesn't need knights. I just want to know if there was a real path in life I could follow, one with a proper end, if I could give some meaning to my life without just wasting it. Then I met you. The path of the Sarkaz King is the path for me. We fought alongside each other, and like you said, we're in this together. And now the fighting stopped, at least for now. My buddies are still alive. Your Highness, you can deal with me as you see fit. Deal with you? What are you talking about? Driver, why have you become, like, scary, aren't I? Your Highness, please, I beg of you, help her. Lord Banshee Sire, humbly return this coin. It's the only thing of worth I have. Witchcraft is the trigger to her condition, not the cause. There's nothing I, Amia, and even Dr. Kalsi could do to reverse these changes. What are you going to do? Don't tell me you're going to kill her like you did the Red Worms? Stand aside, Shopkeep. This is my decision, Your Highness. I heard in the past the greatest warriors, right before they died, would request the king grant them a vision. I don't know if I count or not. Amia raised her hand. Black arts coalesced at her fingertips. A desperate smile emerged in the driver's face as she consciously looks at the top of the rabbit's head, searching for the legendary black crown. My king, what will I see? I just hope it won't be me driving that piece of junk around Kazdel. Driver, can you tell me your name, your real one? Is this part of the ceremonies too? Well, if I knew your name, it'd be a lot easier. Marila, a common name. Casimir, Marila. Sorry, I never stayed in Casimir's for long, so my pronunciation might be off. No, it's good. It's been so long since anyone called my name so gently, ever since my mother died. Oh, they're just really piling it on, aren't they? Marila, Marila. I refuse your request. You won't grant me a vision? I suppose there's never war to begin with. No, that's not it. I refuse to let you die here by my hand, Marila. You will not become a vampire's creation. Your looks have changed, but I don't sense you becoming any more evil or bloodthirsty. And even if you are showing a bit more of your ancient bloodline, you are still you. Ah, that's right. She doesn't seem to be losing control like the bloodworms and others we've been fighting. So if she keeps this, then she can possibly utilize this power for productive means. You do not deserve punishment, nor should I be the one to give you the honor. Oh, but you're the king of Sarkaz. Please, call me Amia. Miss Marila. I have had my share of worries because your team isn't compromised from silent operators. I was thinking earlier how we could get along with you three, but in truth, it wasn't a problem at all. If you wish to fight alongside us, I welcome you with open arms. Ah, that smile. We must protect it at all costs. The young rabbit keeps her arms outstretched, her blue eyes blinking. The Sarkaz woman grasps her slender fingers. Despite not feeling much sorrow, two rows of scarlet tears still flow down her cheeks. Were you watching Amia? She's changed a lot these past few years. She's always been a good leader. The core of the vampire's ritual has been changed. It's no longer a tool to amplify the strength of the Sarkaz, nor a simple collector of energy. It's deepening the Sarkaz's bloodline bond with Originium and the Aminam. The blood of the Tikaz is playing a role in this somehow. The strength of the Sarkaz bloodline acts as a direct catalyst to Originium's spread. In turn, the information within Originium empowers the bloodlines, changing their powers and other traits. Didn't Salus merge a lot of The effect of these arts seems familiar. Didn't Salus? The Confessori are skilled at bringing out the power bloodlines. We must be ready. The threat that Aminam represents may very well be far greater than anything we expected. Yeah, it seems likely Aminam's probably going to be the boss of this chapter. I thought maybe it was going to be Theresa, but it might be Aminam instead. We'll see. The only thing that's been spoiled for me is mostly just art of characters.
Tuning.
Wither Aegis, the elite guards, legions, the aegis of hatred and war is a role of ultimate protection sacrifice.
Auf eure Plätze.
I think I know a way to make this easier. I can do it this way. Crap, I need a defender here. Arts are usually important, so let's put him up front.
Tremble in my music is your honor.
Alright.
I have received enlightenment.
I probably should bring Shu to make this a little easier. In fact, I think I will replace Zerny with Shu coming up, because this chapter is absolutely not screwing around.
I am here. May the mountain prolong our fates.
Necrosis is extremely helpful because it gives the enemy an attack shred and deals what might as well be true damage.
Down to work.
Those things don't have HP, so I'm not going to worry about the vampire effect. Silver Ash, let's see if I can get his S3 going here. Because if I can use that before they start moving, that'd be a really big help. Unless I still need to work on his module. Oh crap, it's not going to be ready in time.
You made up your mind?
I just need to use it once.
Art thou mine worthy enemy, or art thou not but a jester?
Flourish or perish. Please regain from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, the Necrosis is really good. She's no Arturia, but I didn't have Arturia. She's one of the biggest regrets I have for not investing in sooner. Ooh, Vanguard replaced with another tank.
Let's just get this done with. Oh, my body burns at over 1,400.
Shut up, or else!
I've experienced the only thing to hold a sword back is the cowardness of its wielder.
May the mountain prolong our fates.
Lessing is... I know a lot of people like to meme on Vigil, but I do genuinely think Lessing is the worst 6-star welfare. Well, unless you count the one in the home server, but I think I'm gonna wait a bit before making any wild accusations about them.
Acknowledged.
Yes, agony, ever etched on our hearts.
Alright.
We gaze from the beginning to the end.
The true damage from Necrosis is really helpful for these guys, because these guys are really bulky.
Oh, even a virtuous king must from time to time look to the sword.
Yeah, Stainless's SP batteries really do help in this one because of how much the reduced
Made up your mind?
SP gain is. Yeah, I don't need to remove that beacon because it's actually in an ideal spot right now. It's not hitting any of my operators, and nor is it eating the, there we are, let's keep these going.
Made up your mind? Thy pleas falleth upon deaf ears.
There we are. There we go. That wasn't difficult at all, but I'm really glad I brought Valar Quinn because holy crap, how would that be a pain without some elemental damage? I guess I could have also brought Warmy, but Warmy doesn't. No, a Primal Caster would not have worked because they have good res. I specifically needed Valar Quinn because she ignores res and just deals a fixed amount of elemental proc damage each time. 23 hours into the operation. I see exemplars arrive, or... Hammer, hammer. The road ahead's been cleared. I'll continue scouting the Sarkis army's movements. Haven't found any trace of them yet. Thank you, Misery. Continue to set up those sentry posts. Morgan, found any surviving Victorian soldiers where you're at? I'm afraid not. Nothing but originium crystals here. We haven't run into any Victorian troops, corpses, or wrecks since we entered the westbound forest. Damn it, we tell there's been a bloody huge battle. Well, where have all the people gone? The terrain here keeps changing. Maybe the ground ate them all up. We cannot underestimate the tenacity of the people. It's only because there are those who refuse to give up that the Templars even exist. It's why we're here in the first place. Shearer, keep the medics ready and to receive any army remnant civilians. We've got extra supplies, so no need to worry on that front. The bad news is that with so many infected among our troops now, it's almost impossible to distinguish between infected and uninfected soldiers. I'd like your professional opinion on the matter. Would registering the infected help our men or not? Funny you should ask. Registering the infected. That might have been the first thing they taught me at military academy. But where we stand now, I'd say there's no sense to it. I see. Then let's just not register them. Just do your best to provide everyone, infected or not, with Rose Island's recommended protective measures. The rest is not up to us anymore, at least for now. Let's all focus on surviving this war. Then we can worry about the wars to come. Oh, my drone's back. How awful. The entire propulsion system's been clotted up by crystal dust. Based on monitored data, environmental originium concentration is still fluctuating wildly. Send me that data you just got, Rock. We've got a new iteration of our originium activation trend model. I want to see if our calculations fit real-world data. Looks like there's not enough data to do that. The trend of this curve, let's wait for Victor's team to finish off that diffractometer's analysis report. Then we should be able to calculate safe areas in real time. This place freaks me out. It's like 1 minute it's deadly quiet, the next some terrifying originium mountain pushing its way up out of the dirt. The safe areas just keep changing. Although we've managed to reestablish short-range comms after working our asses off. If you go even a step out of range, and all that interference will just get in the way again. Good thing I planned ahead and asked Radiant for our arts unit before we left to Londinium. After a little copy and paste, I made a knockoff version. It's not as good as the real deal, but it should help. Once we've got these portable communication towers up, we'll be able to transmit locations of safe areas to anyone on the battlefield who needs them. This information will save many lives. Well, yeah, that's what Rhode Island does. On, status update. We've successfully arrived at Gibsonham, the last supply point before we reach the front of Silver Rock. The reconnaissance teams already made their initial scouting report. Looks like there are traces of ducal armies here. Must have passed through on the way a few days ago. I think we confirm at this point that route Trilbiash provided is safe. Is there anyone in town? The streets are empty, but I can sense a flicker of shadow and the smell of food. We decide against contact to avoid unneeded misunderstandings. Understood. Rendezvous with you as soon as we can. It's getting dark. Seems like everything's going smoothly. Best we let our fighters get some rest and hot soup in them. Remember to save some for my team. They'll be taking a while longer to get back after the work's done. Rock and I have to head over to Feist. I'm not sure we'll be able to double our communication range by nightfall, but we'll do our best to finish ASAP. No need to worry, we'll save the best for your people. It's all just the same canned provisions though, right? Would you like some engine oil for dressing then? Boy. All units, continue onward till you reach Gibsonan. Hope things can be peaceful tonight as things are now. All the houses seem to be empty. Have the residents gone into hiding? Gibsonham's not far from the Duke's defense line, so I doubt the Sark has ever fully captured it, not to mention the ducal armies just passed through a few days ago. Horn's caution is warranted, though. There might be some scattered ducal troops who want to reconvene with the main army and decided to camp out here first. Although Trilby Asher is helping us with his advice, Victoria's never exactly been a model for unity. Not to mention the complicated nature of the exemplars. I dare say there's a few old-fashioned military nobles who'd rather not tolerate our very existence. I see. Let's show the full scale of our forces. It'll deter those with ulterior motives, and alert anyone who needs help with our arrival. The rumbling of traveling tanks reverberates through the quiet night. The low roar of engines forcefully yet steady. The soldiers cautiously advance, observing the surroundings, but still, all they see are pitch-black windows and doorways. It doesn't look like they want to make first contact. That's fine, as long as it means we can get along. Wait, it has something. For the building front and left. It's the sound of artillery shell casings falling. An ambush? On guard, everyone. I'll let team scout. First squad, second squad, follow my lead. Let's see the results. Hello, Ryzoon. Welcome. So I'm just really getting the story here. Unless we're talking about my polls, in which case, I didn't do anything beyond the, freebies so far, and all I've just gotten is Fang Altar. I do like Logos. If he comes home, I'll definitely build him, but, I have to make the strong decision and skip this banner for the future ones, especially when we know an alt of a particular favorite is coming. And no, I don't mean Hand of the Wolf. Oh yeah, he's definitely worth it. Especially since my team is pretty caster heavy in the general sense. I just seem to like casters in this game for whatever reason. Phalanx casters, Mechalicord casters, even Passenger has gotten me to become a true believer in the, chain casters. I kind of forced myself to build splash casters like Dusk as well. Partially because, well, I need Dusk in order to perform the Shu Exodia setup. And with how difficult since this chapter is clearly not holding back, clearly neither should I. Although for her, I actually raised her S2 instead of S3, because using her S2 kind of works almost like a regular caster a bit more. So, that one felt a bit better than her S3, so I'm making a very strange decision. There's no signs of life in this abandoned factory. Contrary to the expectation, there's no sound of an explosion following the fallen casings. Are you sure that was fallen casings, Horn? Absolutely sure. It's a special model only allocated to elite Victorian troops. No traces of anyone living here. Don't move, Siege. Siege carefully puts her foot back where it was. Horn points to the thin tripwire, barely visible. Nicely concealed, with the surrounding piping obscuring the view. Real tricky to spot. Huh, a booby trap? No, it's not linked to any explosives. Just simple alarm. Based on how they installed it, I'd say they're military. Should we try to initiate contact? Yes, everyone get behind us. Prepare to engage. Hello, we don't mean any harm. Our unit's called the... A secret passage. Get ready. Stand by my shield. Oh, there's injured. Halt! We're not... Victorian soldier? Help! I knocked over some spent ammunition while on watch. How could they have heard from so far away? They avoided your alarm, too. Those troops, I don't think they're ordinary. She can block your piledriver spear? It's bagpipe. Captain, and Siege, too! It really is you, Fiona. The lady with the long red hair suddenly throws herself in the arms of our captain. They were alive all along. Wonderful, how wonderful. Warren gently releases bagpipe from the embrace, then claps her hand on her shoulder. Good to see you in peace, and in rather good shape as well. I'll make my report now, Captain. I've done it. And I've managed to extract the intelligence on the Spectre Force. I can know what they're planning now. I survived. I got the memories. I got the truth, and I stayed alive. Your orders, I never got a word of them. Good to hear. I knew you could do it. I always knew. Welcome back, Bagpipe. Wait, you're not... Everyone, we mean you no harm. It's alright to come out. One by one, the silhouettes emerge in the shadows. The elderly, children, sick and wounded, civilians. Hundreds of pairs of eyes stare at siege and our men in fear and curiosity taking their measure. You're not with the ducal armies. Most of you aren't even dressed like Victorian soldiers. In fact, you look like workers. That's right, we're not under any of the dukes. We're called the Exemplars. This siege is effectively raising her own army, which is good because, frankly, with the Duke of Windermere out of the picture, there's basically no dukes I trust. Just counting up all the civilians who are hiding in the factory and give him a checkup. All I can say at the moment is that it's looking better than we expected. Aside from those infected soldiers on the Duke of Fife who came along with you, a small team of military engineers on Duke of Normandy, everyone here is just local civilians who couldn't escape. Ducal Alliance armies came through here a few days ago, but they rather gave up the chance of being rescued to seek help from the Grand Dukes. It's understandable why the soldiers would avoid them. They're either worried about the status of the infection or about a court-martial. As for the civilians, perhaps it was the year the people living around Londinium got to reassess their country and decorated higher-ups. Bagpipe, how'd you manage to get their trust? Are you listening, Bagpipe? Aye, Captain. You pay attention during tactical meetings. The map's on the wall, not my face. Sorry, Captain. I just got lost in your eyes. I need a map. Horn lets out a small sigh. I really shouldn't be asking. You are Fiona, after all. Oh, I'm just a wee bit glad. The Exemplars as Platoon's predecessors, I guess the rumors really were true. I'm actually amazed you still remember what you learned in the military history class. Well, of course, thought I was still heading up camp. Triangle made sure I committed this fact to memory. Out by the training field, the sycamores were full of leaves, blocking the sun just right. And then there were rocks at the top of the cliff, hard as well rocks. Handles sting if you tried to climb them. I remember when Cello and Oboe had a wager on who could complete the rock climbing course the fastest. Blues were to do 100 one-handed push-ups. Oboe was right at fool. Who could have taken that bet with Cello? Maybe you should have reminded him back then. You were still even sitting on his back the whole time he was doing those push-ups. How just helping him along with the training. And I'd say it turned out right in the end, eh? You're just a hair behind Cello the next time. The Exemplars. The Templars platoon was first established. Nothing was left of this legendary unit from the War of the Four Nations. Not even its unassigned unit ID. But now it's returned once more to the battlefield. We're all members now, Bagpipe. As long as our team is still here, we'll never stop fighting the good fight. Isn't there a strategy meeting inside? What are you handing out here in the cold? Just wanted to clear my head a few minutes. Did you think I was someone else? Beard or... No, not really. I'd believe you. If someone suddenly popped out of a fog tonight, I wouldn't have any expectations either. Not everyone's as lucky as Horn, reunited with the person they most wanted to see. Look, that's a luxury around here. There's enough blues for tonight. We should head out inside. Wait. Victorian soldiers, are they the remnants who stayed behind? No, they can't be. I never noticed them until they got close. They're the elites of the elites, Castor's men. It's positively frigid. My hand's frozen. The days truly are getting colder. I've only taken a little jaunt. My plaids already half soaked. My young friends, why won't you invite me inside, warm my hands for a spell? Since you come all this way in person, I suppose we should show you some courtesy. Delphine? Yes, Vina? Let's show the Duke the way. Interesting, the Duke himself is here.
Phew. I'm exhausted. I want to go lie down, Doctor.
I actually did raise... Let's see here. Breaking the silence. As long as there's only just one of these, I think I should be in good shape. Yeah, we're gonna use one of these. Speaking of flag bearers, I actually decided that I indeed am going to build one
Initial environmental survey completed. Nothing abnormal. We are good to go.
Flag bearers are pretty good, but as you notice, I never actually got my hands on Elysium. So the good news is I could do a flag pipe if I ever needed to, but right, like I said, I need to stop holding back. Shoes Exodia setup.
A day of fine sun and gentle breeze. I hope everyone makes it home safe.
Ling is the one, more than anyone else, I wish I could rotate out, because a summoner like her is worth bringing, but only if you build your entire team around her. Here, she's basically just an emotional support Ling.
The river bends 1,000 times. A city lone in desolation, vivid in the mind's eye.
I should really get S3 for Dusk built at some point, but... And I have her S1 just for AFK purposes for whatever reason. I don't know.
Don't keep me too long.
But yeah, as you can see, I can perform the Shoe Exodia setup, and when it's basically what I whip out whenever I'm all okay. I'm not holding back. Funny enough, I'm actually kind of tempted to M9 Lessing. Yes, I'm that completely insane to raise one of the worst 6 stars in the entire game. And yeah, like I said, I'd actually consider him worse than Vigil, because at least Vigil generates DP if he's not doing anything else productive, and that's helpful to get stuff out quicker. Which mod? Oh yeah, I need to get a module for Dusk here. I'll look into whichever one is actually worth it later, because I know one of hers is actually surprisingly terrible for a limited 6 star. The Duke of Gododin invites them to have a besieged distrustful, meanwhile closure. Oh, excuse me, who are you, sir? Phew, much better. Once you reach a certain age, you prefer bright and warm places. Ah, is that beans I smell? I was cooking some canned beans for dinner. Do you want some, sir? Don't mind if I do. Would be better if we had some seasoning from home, perhaps marinated meat. Hi, I was thinking the same. We got it. What is it? I ken who you are now, and you're a bit different from what's in the news. Ah, well, you can ask your captain. I held her when she was wee. Little Rita touched my horn and asked why her dad didn't have one. I apologize for my insolence at the time, Your Grace. Not many have the nerve to touch my horns, Lieutenant. And Scamandros, you showed courage from a very young age. Or shall I say, you're all brave. All of you are brave warriors of Victoria. Your defense of Chetley was outstanding, as was your performance in Brentwood. The exemplars you call yourselves. I have long waited to meet you, and it seems your leader does not welcome my presence. Pardon my frankness, Your Grace, but it's hard to treat your sudden appearance as a gesture of pure good faith. Of course, Lady Windermere, I understand. Especially in times like this. I will admit that I've wanted to get Delphine raised, but it's hard to justify it since, if we're blunt, she's not very good. Even... I'm used to Mystic casters. I mean, Eben is still a top favorite of mine, 100%, but she's a bit of a weird one, since she does her skill that you're going to be using with her. She doesn't attack stuff below 50%, but she leaves dots on things, damage over time effects on things, so she's a bit of a weird one. I guess I might still raise her at some point just for fun, but hard to say. Granted, not all the ones I raise are supposed to be good. I mean, Lessing I raised there, I don't know what possessed me to raise Lessing or invest as heavily in him as I did, but I did. So maybe I'm just insane enough that I should be doing that. I did raise Morgan, but it's actually impressive. I knew she wasn't going to be very good from the start, but it's actually impressive how awful she is. Even Lessing is better, if only because of no other reason than he has a 6-star stat line, because he doesn't have much of a kit backing him up. I sent my men to Galve. We were traveling quickly, but unfortunately I made it that I'm present to funeral flowers for Alphys. I appreciate the gesture. I assume the Duke of Gododin hasn't come all this way just to give us a medal. What if I say I have? Most of us are neither nobles nor intelligentsia. It would be best if you didn't beat around the bush. Your Royal Highness Alexandrina is as direct as they say. Or would you prefer I called you Siege, like your friends do? I fully understand why the Exemplars avoided the ducal armies along the way. You didn't want them to get involved with the machinations of the dukes. You want to fight only Victoria and her people, like the legendary unit you are named after. And so I'm not here as Duke of Gododin. I'm here as Sean Gododin, Member of Parliament, to extend an invitation to the Parliament-authorized Tempest platoon and the rest of the Exemplars. Leave that outdated identification code behind. I'm asking you to intervene in this war in the name of Parliament. Yeah, we have to be wary. Remember, he's coming to us now that we're actually have started succeeding in our goal and have a few wins under our belt. In other words, when we're actually winning. And I am very wary of fair weather allies, fair weather friends, ones who are only around when it's convenient for them. Maybe if he'd come when we were at our lower points, I might have been a bit more. But I think Siege, and I imagine Siege probably feels the same. It's way too convenient that he's coming to offer help now that we've already been winning, and not when we needed help the most. The miners' camp's been burned to the ground. No sign of Sarka's soldiers. Misery feels a slight chill. The campsite's charred debris is cooled. He moves some collapsed wooden beams aside, finds a few unrecognizable bodies. Miners. Remains of the inns. Infected. It's all the same everywhere. What's that sound? More of the nice hiding spot, Sudaram. Nezir spotted west of Gibsonham. Out of comms range already, eh? Death has you. Several ruined swords pierce out of the ground near behind Misery's feet, but he's no longer there. Misery rips through the fabric of space with his dagger and retreats out of range. The collapsed ruins turn to a cage, trapping the Nezir's withered bodies within. Shush now. I have you too. Misery has just been really cool every time he shows up. The only question is, was he able to save the ones in the previous chapters that we saw him with? Yeah, Misery is another one I've been waiting for, to be sure. I definitely want to see what they do with him. And I appreciate that they've been making a lot of the elite operators main pool, because I really don't like how the game has started adding more and more limited ops as time goes by. Granted, it's not as bad as FGO, and I doubt it will be in the general sense. For those who don't play, FGO has basically, whenever a new 5-star comes out, 5 being the max in that game, they're pretty much always limited. It's a bigger surprise when they're main pool, so that's always annoying. Granted, that game also gives limited units regular rate ups, while this one kind of doesn't, so... Duke Gododin. I understand the Victorian Parliament has not held a session for a long time. Everyone who escaped London knows the Sark has been the one to give the orders from the Palace of Westalig during this time. Of course, I do not deny the present circumstances. Why don't we cast our gaze further, though, the future beyond the war? The future, isn't it a little too early to be bargaining over that, if bargaining and coercion were synonyms? You must understand me. Gododin is not caster. I'd much prefer to sit by the fireside than gather at a negotiation table. I'm more about drinking and playing cards with friends. It gets cold rather quickly when summer's gone. Mind if I have my men add wood to the fire? You might as well have them come in. Thank you. That's much better. Where were we? I guess the future. We know that the war will end and Victoria will triumph. The war will inevitably bring, or shall I say, has already brought about irreversible changes, ending a 20-year stalemate. If anyone in the room is interested in that empty throne, it certainly isn't me. Excellent. See, we already have a consensus. As a matter of fact, I held a little meeting long ago, and saw the Iron Duke in person. Seeing him always reminded me of when I first saw the Gastra. Like so many other children grew up hearing tales of the Empire's death knell. I searched for the shadow of the ruins beyond the Lingons, only did not find not Gaul, but the glory of the strongest nation of our time. So splendid that I could not bear to turn away. You want us to believe you care more about Victoria than Gododin? Make no mistake, I'd never call myself a patriot. The Duke must always put his dukedom before all else. It's not a matter of interest, but a duty, responsibility. But I wonder, what's the difference between Goddington and Wellington? Wellington would still be Wellington, with or without Victoria, but what would become of Gododin if the light of Victoria went out? Perhaps it would survive, but things would certainly not get better. You don't want the Grand Dukes to really divide Victoria. I'm not the only one. You know that. As strong as Victoria is, she's not without her rivals. Ursus, Lithuania, Columbia, Sargon. All nations of Terra have their eyes upon us. We need a single, united voice to bring stability. That's why Parliament exists. All the ducal realms will select an appropriate representative, including Windermere. This is what the exemplars mean to Victoria. No soldier who fights with the cause of Victoria will need to fear betrayal again. The Speaker of Parliament has always been king for the entirety of one's existence, but that does not mean he or she must sit on the throne. And this is what you mean to all of us, Your Royal Highness Alexandrina, if you're willing. No one speaks as the Duke's words sinks in. Only the cackling of the fire Gododin lit could be heard. I have only one question for your grace. If all this could have waited until after the war, then if I refuse now, can my friends and I leave with the Sigh of Kings? Ha! Siege. Crossbowman outside. We're surrounded. Maybe we already were the moment he showed up. Well, well. First we learn what a commitment is to Castor. Now we learn what friendship is to Godin. Friends treat each other as equals, they not? My offer remains fair. At the minimum, I will give this young friend from Godin the opportunity to point her piledriver spear at me. So yeah, he's nothing more than a fair weather ally. Or at least that's what he's offering. And, much like Siege, I certainly don't have any interest in such. What's the signal from Drone 6? Ah, blasted. Alright, Batlin, Yvera's Victor, we'll have to do this manually. Status reports, everyone? All good here. Beacon's in there, the sensor's running. We're still getting strong interference from the wind and sand. I'm trying to filter out the noise. I think the default caster operator bunnies are adorable. Wait on you now, Victor. 5 minutes, ground softer than expected. Careful, quicksand. The soil is very different from the samples we collected. I've sent the data back. Got that, Captain? I knew it was a good idea to get you on board, Yvera. Worthy of a days of angry stares from Earth Spirit. I think you can do better with working, and I think you can do with a better work environment, Closure. Try not to get too much sand in your mouth. Stop talking like Amia, Balin. My blood's self-cleansing. Cough, cough. And don't just laugh at me, keep working. The sooner we get the signal tower set up, the sooner we can broadcast the safe zone locations, and the sooner you can go to town. I'm trying. Rhodes Island equipment isn't like anything else I've seen. I'm already doing an exemplary job. Got it? I do genuinely still think Stainless is a favorite. It was pretty easy to fit him in my team before, but now anytime I bring the Shu Exodia setup, it's kind of crazy. Actually, I think the Shu Exodia setup is going to become even more important as this chapter goes on because, as they mentioned, the SP reduction is huge, but Shu's Exodia setup counteracts that. The operators actually get it. You have my drones. Of course I'm staying here with them. Well, that is a solid reason. I know you're concerned about my safety, but I really am strong. What's that? Those vampire worms would disagree? Well, not all vampires are built the same, you know. It's you two I'm worried about. Put your helmets on. Oreopathy infection is absolutely no joke. Alright, but you lot are the ones who need to be careful, running around the battlefield like this. You lot? Rhodes Island, you lot are all over the battlefield, not caring for your own safety at all. Balin is infected from Victoria. Yeva is infected, but not Victorian. Victor is not infected or Victorian. Why, I've noticed Rhodes Island operators come from anywhere. I can't help but think of my granny, Clovicio, plus Tommy and the gang. I once hoped the Self-Salvation Corps could be united as Rhodes Island operators I'd seen. Well, people aren't really born good or bad. As circumstances change, so do people. Maybe one day Self-Salvation Corps will become a tightly knit, united group. Just like the Exemplars, now all fighting for the same thing. Ready to brave the worst, ready to deal with defeat, even betrayal. But it's not necessarily race upbringing or circumstances that unite us, just like Rhodes Island. Alright, enough with compliments. I know you want to keep our equipment. Should I keep our equipment? Should I get you a contract now? I'm not jealous of Rhodes Island disclosure. You lot gave me the same kind of feeling as the strange communication equipment you're holding. Possibility, something that proves I'm not just a naive dreamer. Wait, maybe your monologue's starting to bother Closure Faced. Wait, what's that sound? Let me check from Rock 18. In the monitor's pixelated image, a sandstorm approaches. Catastrophe? But I don't see the data. Beneath the wild sands are tattered banners and chanting war. Nazirs, what are they doing here? Go, you two, leave now. Everyone self-salvation. Head for Gibsonham, now. What's that sound? Sarkaz, they're already here. Battle stations, open fire. Seems they've got something more important to worry about. Explosions? Sir, the Sarkaz are attacking from town. We have to leave now. They found us quicker than expected. Looks like the Sarkaz remember the success they had with Lease. What are the attackers? Nazir elites, sir. Your Royal Highness, you and your people must leave. Your Royal Highness, you and your people must leave with us now. This town is not worth defending, but you and your friends are paramount to the importance of the future of Victoria. Our battleships can take us back to the Silver Rock in 3 hours. That's where you belong. Me or the sword? Sir, we don't have time. You don't have time, you don't plan to fight, even though you know how many civilians there are. But of course you wouldn't. They're not important to you or the Parliament. These poor families wouldn't produce a single member of Parliament in 100 years. There's no place for them in your game of cards. I simply have my sights set on reality, Your Highness. Reality is what the future of Victoria you dream of is to be found in grand halls filled with noble coat of arms. My Victoria is here with these people. Sir, well, Your Highness, you're like your father at times, naive, reckless. Just so. Not that I care, I don't remember a thing about him. Ha, very well. Good luck. Horn, order all combat-ready personnel on the plate to their stations. Now, on it. Delphine, have Lieutenant Shearer get logistics and medical staff ready. Already done. Follow the plan, protect the civilians, and prepare for battle. Well, the good news is this fight means he's in no position to coerce anyone. He has to get out of here. And this little trick can only work once.
Engulfed in snow, as were the fates of many.
Unblockable and reduce movement speed when taking damage. Except nearby beacons when not carrying one. Drops them on death.
I finished construction of the refinement system. Deployment point confirmed.
Please deliver my visions to the masses.
The landscape here is tricky. Only step where I step.
You know what? I could put Thorns here because he's an auto attack reliant.
Please, may the lightning tear chaos apart.
If an enemy can't be blocked, they're gonna be a pain in the rear.
This is the battlefield.
I probably shouldn't have aimed her that way, but whatever.
Stop! Until we can confirm that this area is safe, I will hold this position.
Very well.
Thorns' module really does help a lot more than I was expecting. I was a bit worried because mixed damage attackers tend to be hurt, since enemies usually have a mix of they tend to focus on res or defense, but they usually have a little mix of both, which can cause some trouble with inflicting damage, but yeah, let's do it this way.
It is but a flash in the drift of time.
I'll go someplace you can run, but I'll keep chasing.
Stop! I'm in position. The landscape here is tricky. Only step where I step. Stop! I'm in position.
I am here. May the blizzard cleanse life and death.
I've long been ready.
And thus has Autumn made reckoned her arrival. Truly evocative.
There we are. As long as that's away from the ops, I think it's gonna be safe. Problem is this guy, there's still that guy there and he can't be blocked, so that's gonna be a bit of a pain. Yeah, this is a big thing. I don't mind Lessing being a hella drop, but he has nothing to reduce his redeploy time, which makes it really painful to use him.
Better leave the
I'll be the infinite with the tangible. Bring the intangible to life.
What do you plan? Thy dreams fall
Oh, this is bad.
years.
Oh, this is very bad.
I am here. We gave from the beginning to the end.
Who will you choose will not come to harm?
I should probably replace Shining with Lumen, but it is story appropriate to have Shining here. Then again, the difference isn't as large as I'd like it to be.
I'll go someplace. The only thing to hold a sword back is the cowardness of its wielder.
Might be good to have Shu help out here a bit.
A word I've not heard in a long, long time.
There we are. Yeah, I probably should have brought out Shu earlier because her seeds will... Her sow seeds passive is really, really helpful. Thanks to timely reinforcements, Closure sets up meanwhile, I think something's wrong with the diffractometer sensor. Nothing's wrong with it. You see, Victor, I'm getting the same results. It's not always the equipment's fault you're not getting valid data. The data itself may exceed the scope. Originating metrics are far beyond the default limit. They're coming, guys. We have 3 minutes. Victor's the youngest of us. If nothing else, we should try to get him out. Who would you think was the reason I signed up for the Londinium operation? Never could just do as you're told, could you? How are you doing over there, Closure? Still alive. I got my drones, and they're loaded with I think I hear the sound of drones crashing. They used to be your babies. Ha. You knew when you have the self-salvation corpse to pull out, didn't you? This is the last chance to escape. The originium activity is incomplete. I need data from all of you. Ami is not here, so you're the Captain, Closure. We talked to Ami before we came here. Stop a war, save both Victorians and the Sarkaz, just a few of us? That's next to impossible. I chose to trust all of you, trust the dream. There's a single Rhodes Island operator who doesn't want to see a day when there's a cure for worryopathy, so when everyone's living a better when everyone's living a better life. Doesn't that sound ridiculous to most? My only regret about dying here is I won't get to see that day. You get my data first? Yeah, just send the newest batch over, Captain. Oh, and I'm not that selfless. Just don't forget to put my name in when you publish your paper. Will do. Communication failure. Signal loss. Importing enemy energy fluctuation. Automatic analysis. Catastrophe scale. Developing production model on originium induced or environmental change in the next 24 hours. Zzz, Captain Shield damaged. They're about to hang in there, Veras. Moving your position. Make it happen, Closure. I will. The engineer's eyes are glued to the screen in front of her. Faster. If they fail to compile the originium activity data, then all the squad's effort are for naught. The din of war approaches. Only a few drones remain. She can feel the enemy's cold, freezing breath. Model successfully compiled. Outputting safe zone locations. Yes! All that's left is a signal tower. Vampire. Traitor. This war will go on and you will feed it. Yikes! My drone! The blade slices the hovering drone, sending it crashing. That was her last combat drone. Get out of the way! Your arts are weak and pathetic. How could such a frail vampire even exist? Ouch! Searing pain erupts and Closure feels the entire side of her body go numb. The breath of decay invades. Closure can barely hold on to the signal tower. With great effort, she plants a complex equipment ground to lead on. Insufficient signal strength. Strong interference. Unable to broadcast. Please follow equipment manual. I know, shut up. What kind of vampire are you, Closure? Close those wounds. Hang in there a little longer. Get this thing up. sleeping in corridors again, you'll catch a cold. Rhode Island's base functions are online. I think she's ready for a grand voyage. Thank you, Chief Engineer. You delivered your promise. If you want to leave the ship and go back to Casdale, right, you told me before you're not interested in that place. Please promise me you won't call yourself a talentless vampire anymore. You're the most talented person I've ever known, Closure. You're just different from other vampires. So here's my offer. As long as you still want to see the vast and unexplored parts of this land, we'll always be each other's companion. I can't. I won't let everyone down. And myself. Closure can feel the Pseudorom's cold grip close in around her neck. War has finally claimed her. Closure! Who? A survivor? Signal! A Rhode Island signal! Grab my hand, Closure. Doberman? It's me. Can you stand? Bang! You slice. A dagger pierces the Pseudorom's chest, causing a massive burst of energy. Sorry I'm late. Misery gave us the location. More are coming. Almost got it. Cover me. Keep them away. What's our mission? When Closure first joined Rhodes Island, then known as Babel, she asked many operators this question. She got a different answer each time. Some dreams are big, others less so. She gave details, others mumbled, scratched their heads, gave an abashed smile. But there comes a time when they all have the same expression, and a time when they all make the same choice. Almost there, this is the last one. Core module online. Communications restored. We're coming. Closure, hang in there. We sent yours. Location of the exemplars. Help's on the way. Finally. Closure, are you okay? Keep your distance. Cover artilleries and crossbowmen. The appearance of the Nagiers is closely linked to catastrophes. Do not fear their witchcraft. However bizarre it is, it's still arts. Remember how we marched through a catastrophe. We survived a catastrophe, we'll survive the Sarkas. Bagpipe. I am here. Duke of Godden spoke the truth. The Tempest platoon is under direct authority of the Parliament. We have an obligation to answer the Parliament's call. It's a more legitimate cause for action than the Duke's invitation. Not to mention, by accepting this, you, Robin, and everyone who came with us because they had no choice will have proper identities. Identity? Would you forget, Captain? I'm retired anyways. Besides, in the stand-up with the Duke earlier, you didn't hesitate to put your shield in front of Siege. True. What is Siege carrying the Five Kings? You seen it before, Captain? Oh, I have. Siege is right. It's just a piece of metal that happens to mean something to some people. Troops are appearing on our flank. No ID code, but I recognize them. They're Duke Godden's men. They've engaged the Sarkas, covering one of our squads just now. Good. That's Godden's way of showing friendship. We'll show him the same return. Attention exemplars. Stand with the soldiers. No one step backward until the last foe is vanquished. The ship has reached cruising speed, sir. We're out of danger. Oh, good, good. The Sarkas witchcraft is most peculiar indeed. Better to fake a moment of vulnerability than to have them constantly harassing our rear. The leader of the Nagier has not been sighted, nor any other known powerful Sarkas. I suppose they don't see Godden as nearly as a threat as Windermere or Wellington are. I could call that a relief, in a way. The Five Kings has not left Gibsonheim, sir. Should we move on that for the next phase? What do you think of them? More of a challenge than expected. Alexandrina's forces are growing, and they're more organized and effective than we thought. Oh, I don't mean as an adversary, the exemplars. Like you said, they look the part. And they've worked well enough with the troops that we left behind. Rita's with them, and it looks like the legendary White Wolf that our father did. And Windermere isn't quite as weak as the intel had on her. Maybe it's not such a joke after all that these kids could become the exemplars. Do you intend to abandon the plan for us to escort the Realm's Blade, then? Abandon, such a strong word. It's the future that Godden values. Alexandrina, the Five Kings, the exemplars, even Rhodes Island. Perhaps we'll cross paths again on our way to the future. Our tanks are fighting the last pocket of Sarkas in the east of town. We successfully defended Gibsonham. It will serve as a supply point on the way to Silver Rock. However, the terrain has changed. The environment around Londinium is constantly changing because of Ananam's influence. Fissures, cliffs, and rapids should not have been going there. They're merging everywhere. Silver Rock Bluffs is almost constantly under severe catastrophe. It's hard to say where our foot will land when we put forward. I would have believed this was all Londinium if I had anything less than absolute faith I wouldn't have believed this was our Londinium if I had anything less than absolute faith in Rhode Island's data. The sun on the meadow is summery warm, filling our home with euphoria. After this war, we might have to change our national anthem's lyrics. Yeah, is this time be having a laugh? You wanted to say we'll think about after we take it back, don't you? But even if we really went back, would our home ever return to the way it was? That's why we're not just gonna win the war. We're not gonna let the Sarkaz destroy Londinium. We'll overcome the storm ahead, and we won't abandon the home the storm has ravaged. Vice told me a squad picked up more distress signals nearby. There may be more lives saved. The areas where fighting occurs, the Najirs will need to be cleaned up. Rhodes Island operators will provide the usual assistance. I want the Exemplars to work with them on the post-combat affairs, establish supply lines, rescue, transfer the injured, and rally those who want to join us. The troops who returned from the front line have assembled. Counting the Gordon soldiers who had their IDs wiped, the Exemplars have far exceeded the scale of regiment. They want to join us? I met with their officers. They said Duke Gordon left before they could board the transport. Preliminary screening indicates all of them are infected. Sounds familiar, eh? The Duke Gordon left his inspector's soldiers behind just like all the other dukes. Or maybe he intentionally picked a bunch of soldiers who had fortunately gotten infected and sent them over to us. I suspect he has ulterior motives. The performance of those infected troops indicates they're different from those we've seen before. I would not just call them stragglers. If Gordon's intention is to keep an eye on us, we should probably try to lose those people or separate them tactically. No. You know the Duke's better than I, Delphine. There's a good chance that you're right. But right now, there's nothing more we need than unity. Even if the Exemplars choose which part of Victoria they united, what would happen in the future that we dreamed of? Gordon very likely knew we couldn't reject these men. That's why he let us leave so easily. Then we need to be ready. This is not the first change we've had to overcome, nor will it be the last. Sarkaz and Castor, the Dukes. It's not just one storm the Exemplars are gonna have to weather here. I'll let Lieutenant Scherer know. I'll be honest, everyone's happy to get some new blood. Plus, they're all infected. If it's true that Gordon has not abandoned them, that in itself is worth celebrating. Perhaps the unity that once seemed impossible really is within reach. It's a miracle to run into people like you. We're not the miracle, ma'am. You are, all of you, for being strong until the very end. Thank you so much, regardless. I can still move. Let us help you with the others. This way you can get some rest. You're not much older than my own child now that I get a better look at you. We have about 10 minutes of rest before we head to the next location. Closure? A little more time. There's not much room for improvement on that arts you're holding. Even Radiant and Machinist could hardly do better. Conditions will only get worse. The better I do, the safer you guys will be. Thanks. Rescue work in Gibsonham is complete. Now we're going to be where your squad signal was lost. I see. We'll find them. Alive or, you know, otherwise. Even if they're buried in sand or originium, there will be traces. We'll find them and bring them home. I know how I feel, but Fang, I want to hear your thoughts too. Is it regrettable for World's Island operator to die in a war between the Sarkaz and Victorians? They have nothing to do with either side? Any sacrifice is regrettable. After Ace died, Beagle cried for many nights with his shield in her arms. Why him? Why there? Why then? I get that feeling too every single time, but what I really want to know is how do the people who sacrificed feel? I'm sure they have their own regrets. We're none of us saints, that's why we fear death, that's why you feel pain over your decision. But I have no regrets about participating in this operation. If not for Lava, Hibiscus, or our other Sarkaz friends, at least for the people here, even though I don't know any. Then at least for the people here, even though I don't know any of them. There was a catastrophe that brought me from Columbia to Rhodes Island. That catastrophe brought me one thing, this taught me one thing. Suffering does not discriminate. I came here today because I knew that you'll come when my home needs help, the people I care about need help. You're right. We'll be there. Rhodes Island. You know something? I've been addicted to the web since a very young age because it's the only place I knew without and the other vampire children, vampires of the Sarkaz, everyone else, catastrophe, nation, disease. It was Theros that took me from the confines of my home and showed me another possibility. A ship that sails the waves of disaster, rescues those who are suffering, and fosters companionships beyond personal interest. Sounds surreal, huh? But the road that Rhodes Island has traveled thus far is very real. I'll continue to analyze the anomalies caused by Ananam. I also want to hear You answered my question. Cal sits in the doctor's, too. This data belongs to Yavarius, to Balin, to Victor, Rhodes Island. One day, it may belong to everyone.
Once painting and war were quite different. But with this power, battle is art.
Ah, yeah, feels good to have some of these, done. Oh yeah, does this have a new mat? No, it doesn't. Okay, so Hidden Front is gonna unlock when I complete 14.5 here. Weird, I thought that was gonna be a red one, a difficult one. Well, it could still be difficult, that's for sure. Let me grab a sip of my drink before I continue on. There we are. Oh yeah, look at all that. I'm glad I brought the Shoe Exodia setup because this is just going to be a pain in the rear, I can tell you right now. Actually, what do I need for Silverash's module again? I can worry about that later, actually. Maybe I should bring Blaze, actually. Because with the Shoe Exodia setup, I can get Blaze going a lot more easily.
Time for combat? Count me in!
Blessing as an emergency heli drop. Let's go. W Hoarder and the others defend the life bone, but the mercenaries while searching for them. Abandoned mansion, Londonium outskirts. Is she back? Not yet. Damn, it's hard enough dodging those devils. How'd she survive to even find us? How'd they actually know what business with the devils? We'll consider the business deal lost. What about you? How'd she get you? She held a crossbow to my head. Unhappy soldiers. I knew her from before. She didn't used to be so... I didn't used to be so what? Go on. No, I didn't. A soldier who served the Duke's all his life lies on the ground, a crossbow pointed at his forehead. The voice, the one holding it, as cold as ice. I'm waiting. Sorry, Miss Scar. I shouldn't have... Ah! The bolt pierces his ear. Some people punch holes in their pets' ears as a sign of ownership. That man is not a pet, of course, but sometimes they're not so different, are they? Right. Now get back up and give me a status report. Have you done what I've asked of you? Yes, ma'am. The reception of the monitoring system station was really bad, so even though we tried to get as much information as possible, skip the conclusion. Based on what little information Trilby Asher left behind and the occasional intercepted comms, we can confirm a unit called the Exemplars has been formed, and its leader is most likely the very one you spoke of, Vina. They seem to be headed for the front line at Silver Rock Bluffs. They're really staying in this war. Keep at it. Notify me of any new developments. Yes, ma'am. You. Well, this is easier than expected. I thought it would be tougher. No scruples, no axe to put up. I found Victoria. A red light flashes a few times in the deep shadows. Isn't it your job to protect her? 43 hours into the operation. Dang, it's been almost 2 days. I knew it would come. Usala. That mad bomber W came once to set up this prison. Inez came twice to show compassion. Same old Inez, always a tad slow with her retort when she's focused on someone else's shadow. Now it's you. What have you come to say? So, have you thought it over? That's my line. Your situation is perilous. Your only vehicle lies disabled. As the pilot, I'm very likely to know something you don't, and probably am waiting for the right time to strike. Really, you should just kill me, Hodor. I'd rather you helped us with what you know. In your dreams, I already turned you down once. You give me too little credit if you think I'd change my mind just because I'm a prisoner. 3 times. What? You saved our lives 3 times back in Kazdel. My life once, Inez's twice. You wrote all that in your diary? Name your price, I'll do my best to pay it. You'll go bankrupt if you quit the mercenary life to open a business. I want to open as many I just want as many Sarkaz to make it back to Kazdel alive as possible. Such grand ambitions, but enough chit-chat. Let the old rules of Scar Market lay buried beneath Kazdel. Our debt is settled. One last warning, Hoderer. Kill me now, or you will regret it. Did it ever occur to you that we both want the same thing? Enough of your righteous crap. Don't try to buy my life with your flowery words, old friend. They're not much better than money. A mercenary's life takes no sides, but you and I aren't really mercenaries anymore. Want to bet, Inez? Hoderer's gonna try talking Usal into helping for old time's sake at the Scar Market. Usal's gonna tell him just to get it over with, and Hoderer's gonna come back with a long face. What's the wager? What is? I figured to be jealous the two of them all alone in a room together. W. Stop trying to read my shadow, Inez. I'm not in the mood. Bunny and the Victorian have been gone a long while. Wonder how things are going over there. Bonesy's still playing dead, and Theris's catastrophe refuses to go away. Who knows, maybe Manfred's gonna pop out of nowhere next. I could have blown Theris up right then, there, and then. I know you're restless because of Theresa, but I refuse. But hold that fuse for a moment. We have a lot of prep work to do. Sarka swearing. Who said I was... Got a problem, W? Out with it. It's time for a shift change, but not all scouts came back. Crane's team went off north, and we can't reach them. Don't tell me they ran into a decent enemy caster. When was your last communication? Almost 3 hours ago. If our enemy could make an entire merc squad disappear without a sound, they'd have been on top of us by now. So the most important thing to do is to keep the life bones safe. So we're just gonna sit here when we know something's going on outside? I agree with Inez. We know nothing about this place. The safest course of action is to concentrate our forces. Cut the crap, my men are missing, I want to know why. If they get lost, I'll bring them back. If somebody did them in, I'll return the favor. Calm down, this could be a trap to split us up. I don't like playing defense, even if it is, I'll just blast them out of hiding. Give me half a day. If I don't come back, it means I'm up against a real nasty piece of work. Don't come after me, just get your defenses ready. If you get a call from Amia, don't wait for me, just activate the life bone. I'll take my own squad, no need to bother anyone else. You lot, grab your weapons and follow me. Is this where they went? Should be. The cave was all we saw when we went north, and we don't know what's inside. Hidden passage? The court's secret stash? If this was the secret base of the royal court, we'd have had a couple hundred vampires and shears on our asses the moment we fell in here. Based on Closure's intel, we're in the hills west of Londinium, a good distance from the main battlefield where the old farts are. Somehow, though, I smell the old moldy stench of someone who's been here for ages. I don't like old stuff. I'm sure Hoderer would love it. Vintage. Meanwhile, Hoderer, smells like vintage. Let me guess. What enemy did our lucky winners run into? W, when did you use your bombs? You delusional, did you see me use some on the way here? Then what are those burns on the wall? Huh? Strange. No sign of arts, but how do you leave marks like this on stone then, huh? Did you hear that? What is it this time? It's the sound of someone striking iron. There's someone there. You're hearing things. Stop spooking yourself. There's no one here. Do we keep going? I have a bad feeling about this. Of course, why do you think we're here? That's a top-grade gear you're all using. I'm not rich enough to let them rot in some cave. Have you heard the Sarkaz legend before Aquilon was even born? The Sarkaz and a red dragon? Oh, shut up. The historian Hoderer is enough. Say any more, I'll throw you in the What is it? Blood, but not Sarkaz. It's fresh. Get ready to fight. Roar. Now, what is this? Cave search.
A smith's gotta be ready to pay the debts accrued by the weapons she forges.
Not ideal, but I'm gonna have to do that this way.
This is the battlefield.
Gonna have to use Lessing as
I'll go someplace to answer for your own sins. I've long been ready. You can call me earlier next time.
It might be good to put him here so he can be near the middle of everything. Pseudorum. Attacks deal physical damage to all surrounding units. When inside Originium or an active Origin storm, attacks deal physical to all surrounding allied units and all units inside the storm. That's gonna be such a pain.
I have received enlightenment. I am here. May the lightning tear chaos apart.
This place could use some heat. Doctor, I should protect
Oh,
you.
I don't like that guy one bit. That AoE should not be that strong.
It is but a flash in the drift of time.
I hate to use so much on healers, but I don't have a choice. Shu, get Shu out here.
Spring breeze, timely rain. Now we sow the grain.
I'm glad I brought doubled up on healers here. I'm not another Sudorum.
Let's begin. Fear not.
This battlefield would do well with a splash of ink.
Please, we gaze from the beginning to the end.
If you're really incapable of settling this, then let me handle it. I wasn't clear skies for tuning, rain clouds for Kawhi.
There we are, yeah, as long as I proc Necrosis on those guys at least once, I think I'm in good shape. Yeah, Shu's passive is really, really doing a lot to help here.
Don't go too with the setting of the sun. The brush draws out the peaks.
Please, we gaze from the beginning to the end.
I'll go someplace answer for your own sins. I've long been ready.
There we are. They don't seem too durable, or at least not as durable as I was worried they might be. Sarkaz enemies usually have pretty good res as well, so I should probably seriously consider bringing Ray or some others. Huh. We didn't fight this thing in the map proper. Strange monsters and encounters. Strange howl. Our weapons don't work. This thing won't die. Aim for its head. We'll see how many hits it can take. Too fast. We can't hit it. Draw its attention. I'll try it from behind. Oof. The mercenary attempts to go around the... Bump my mic there. That was a surprise. The mercenary attempts to go around the monster. One swing of its tail sends him slamming against the wall. None of the attacks have caused any real damage. It flaps its wings and scorching winds engulf the cage, making the air thinner. The ground quakes and spikes erupt, hurtling towards everyone. Shut up. I said shut up, you short-legged moth. Song-like cry. The monster immediately locks onto where the damage came from, surprisingly agile for its size. In the brief time it takes W to reload, the monster's already closed the distance, its fangs at her face. I don't know how you got that ugly mug, but you'll need a bigger one to eat me. Chew on this instead, sucker. Is it dead? Hard to live with a big hole in its face, huh? Are you okay? I've always been good at blast control. I got a theory, EW. There might just be a lost Sarkaz called a bomb fiend or something, and you're its last princess. Very funny. What the hell is this? Doesn't look like any animal I've ever seen. I heard that some of the Colombian crazies sew parts of different animals together. Maybe this is their doing? Unfortunately, I know a bunch of sarcasm crazies do the same thing. It reeks of witchcraft. Confessorious monsters. Why out here, in the middle of nowhere? Them being here is of no coincidence. There has to be something else in this cave. Did that thing eat our guys? The only way to find out is to cut it open. We're sure it's dead, right? Damn, this thing had friends? They blocked the entrance, so what do we do? Run! "48 hours in the operation, 2 full days. What time is it? Would it mean anything to you? Call it a professional habit. I feel better when I know what time it is. 6 p.m., 2 days since we crashed the canyon. 2 days, enough to do a lot of things. Do you remember, Hoderer? 3 of us were on a mission to steal a Sargonian Pasha's treasure. We had also 100 or so people on our tails. We hid in a cave for 2 whole days. We were starving, but too afraid to light a fire or leave. It was Ined who stitched your wounds up. You wouldn't have made it otherwise. Ha! I said, the sun's almost up. Just let me bathe in the sun for a little bit and I'll feel better. I must have stopped you. There were enemies outside. We couldn't risk exposing ourselves. No, you didn't stop me. Inez teased me. She found it hilarious that a scar mark at Merc would miss the sun. Sure, the scar mark under Kazdel never sees the sun. I became a pilot of the skeleton when I joined the military commissioned staff as a major. When I took the young ones back and forth between Kazdel and Londinium, it was like we had outrun the sun. I can't go back. None of us Sarkaz can. Usala? Wait, what's going on? They're here. The skeleton's moving? For a moment, the Ferromet skeleton seemed to be moving, but Hodor soon realizes it was not the nerve clusters of bones that were moving. Nails. The ship and pilot have always been one. Life bone is never merely composed of Ferromet skeletons. Rows of long nails are affixed across its massive frame, assembling it into a transport ship. One of them, infused with her arts, pierces through the critical section of the spinal column. She and the skeleton were always linked by witchcraft. The arts of the royal court casters are connected to the skeleton. I can sense it. No need to be anxious, it's not going to wake up yet, but this little bit of connection, what remains of the Ferromet's power on this nail are enough to get me out of here. This nail belongs to me, it's linked to my bones, I'm taking it with me. What happens when a Ferromet's powers are applied directly to the human body? It's not so bad to cut loose once in a while, just like the old days. The spine's cracking. No! I told you, Hoderer. You regret not killing me. Would you say this is just another inevitable chapter of history? Hoderer thrusts his giant sword into a space of the missing nail, barely in time to hold the critical section in place, but even this fleeting moment's enough for the prisoner to escape her chains. Usala leaps through the crack in the ribs, disappearing into the fire along with bone and nerve tissue. Sala, the hero drifting among the shards of history, always trying to save others. Have I ever told you the name suits you better? Angry roar. How many of them are there? It's a dead end ahead. I wasn't planning to escape the front. I just needed space for my bombs. Get down. Are they dead? Let's hope the rocks I brought down were enough to crush their skulls. What are they doing here? Are they protecting something? How am I supposed to know? Do you seriously believe I can talk to monsters? So, I guess those things... We find something incredible. Too bad Crane's team got eaten by those things. Not all of us. You're alive! What the hell happened? We found a cave on patrol and decided to check it out for any secret passages. That's when we ran into those monsters. Tire, Buckler, Nut all got eaten. The rest of us ran for our lives. For some reason, the monsters wouldn't come this way, but we couldn't get out either, so we're stuck here until you shut up. Bloody hell, scale those things alive and have Inez make clothes out of them. What, you're gonna make a moth kigurumi or something? What'd you find inside? Not much. I left markers on the way to see for yourself. Go that way past a few masked bodies and then take the right fork. Masked bodies? A few skeletons that have been here for years. Must have run away from Londinium a few years ago. Strange thing is, they all cut their own horns off. Masked bodies and several horns. Their heads were all wrapped up. Maybe some tribal tradition? Shit, either you're going crazy or I am. Old enemies, don't worry, they're very dead. Take me there, now. This is the place. What's the matter, W? Haven't seen anything like this before. Shut up. Several bodies leaning against the wall. W bends down and examines them meticulously. There's nothing left but bones, all but severe injuries. No question by that. All death by severe injuries. No question about that. Looks like someone tended their bodies after death. Maybe friends? Years, judging by the dust. There's a small altar. No sign of witchcraft, so I guess it's purely for memorial purposes. Are these all of them? Why would the assassins be here? Only these and not the others. Ah, those were from Babel's event. The ones that attacked Theresa. Like I said, that was basically that one scene from Last Airbender where you see Aang's master dead after the time skip, but also surrounded by a ton of enemy bodies, making it clear he went down like a badass. That's exactly. So, what do you mean? Are there supposed to be others? W, what is it this time? What's going on? Assassins? She said those were assassins? W, wait up. We checked the surrounding. There's nothing else suspicious. I recognize their outfits. These traitors. They should have all been dead by now. If they're here, that means no. No, this can't be. This is ridiculous. W, heard Her Highness's Theris's body was stolen from Babel. Don't ask me. How am I supposed to know? The next time Theresa appeared after the attack on Babel was on Londinium. We're close. Shut up. I know that. What do we do now? Should we go back and tell Inez to be on maximum alert? She'll take care of the rest. As for me, I'm gonna clean up loose ends. The hornless sarcasm. This is meaningless, mercenary. I see no reason for us to fight. The war is over. Whether we live or die is inconsequential. You don't get to talk about meaning. Her blood is still on your hands. You and your accomplices, everyone's still alive. I'll find all of you. You can run and hide, but I'll find you and tear you apart bone by bone. I know my sins better than anyone. I would have ended my own. And even if I hadn't run into you today, go on, do it if it quells your worthless anger. But you're too late, mercenary. You couldn't save her. Shut the... Dang, he knew how to give one last cut before going down. I've made many mistakes in my life, but this one thing, there's no way I could have erred. I killed all the traitors. I remember how each one died, even the expressions. But why did these scum die here? Calsa said the Confessary resurrected her. Why do they need a living, breathing Theresa? Is there more to it than Theris's plans of leadership of the Sarkaz? Theresis, Confessary, I couldn't care less about whatever schemes you've been plotting, but you desecrated someone you never should have, which will kill all of you. All of you if it's the last thing I do. What the hell is this place? What's the door doing here? Out of my way! Cough, cough. What the heck is this? A strange sight indeed. The narrow passage opens into a vast, shadowy cavern. Untouched by sunlight, the chilling cave is strewn with dusty weapons and armor. The space is dotted with bizarre crystals. Massive patterns, reminiscent of eerie symbols, stretch ominously from the walls to the ground. W is overcome by unsettling sensation, though it's not who she gazes upon, but the other way around. As though it's not she who gazes upon the vast underground structure, but the other way around. Clank. A blunt sound echoes the cave. Clank, clank. W recognizes the bones being crushed by heavy objects. Who goes there?
No matter how difficult the battle gets, I will always...
Oh yeah, I feel pretty good. I know the Sanrio collab is just costumes, but I'm trying to make sure I have enough to get them all. Oh dang, already at 600 of the inhibitors. Luckily, the amount I get from this chapter itself is going to be really good. Maybe if I also go back to do some of the older chapters, I could do that as well. Largely since, well, during a new story chapter is the best time to do it, because you don't have to worry about losing event currency or anything like that. Hidden Front. Rhodes Island has dispatched squads off the main battlefield to special missions. They'll encounter a variety of challenges, the final goal. Command a squad, determine how they'll end, or complete your mission. Is this a minigame or something? Select one of 3 different squads to begin. Each one starts with different initial stats. Each one has its own specialization. Exploit their proficiencies in specific challenging events to clear them more easily. Squads will face different encounters. Each requires different stats to clear. The higher stats, the higher success rate. Plan growth to enable more smoothly. Is this like the squadron from Final Fantasy XIV? Hope it doesn't get abandoned if so. After facing a set number of encounters, you'll face an emergency event. If you successfully handle this, you must successfully beat this to progress. If the stats aren't high enough to clear, they will evacuate and lose contact. In summary, all squads face many encounters and emergencies. You decide how to enter the city and it determines the ending you achieve. Interesting. After losing contact, you may restart with a different team. The new team will inherit some stuff, and this will make clearing easier, so try out for the experience for your teams. Logistics squad, intel squad, medical squad. I'm a doctor, so let's go with medical. Select route, urgent news, minor catastrophes, rescue mission, explore terrain. Mission from closure. Doctor, the team is currently with no signal, but our readings indicate an imminent catastrophe. Please advise. Your time, dispatch drones, restore comms. Success. Operation successful. Sarkaz are congregating away from Londinium. And this squad boasts elites from both the Vampire and Nazir royal courts. Objective. Choices made will lead to a squad of different endings. Wasteland Bandits, urgent news, support platform. Following measure of closure. Proceed to nearby area. The platform is currently offline. Please advise. 80% success seems like a decent option. Try to repair. Operation failed. Crap. Wasteland Bandits. Escapees. Give some supplies. Ran some refugees. Okay. Operation successful. It cannot fail. Good. Try to repair. Okay, this is 100% good. It's on an urgent mission. You must begin at once. Support platform. Oh, explore the terrain. Abandoned village. Ooh. Intimidation tactics. Oh, that's no good. %. Get flexible, gather what's necessary. A pretty good success rate. Yeah, we did it. Handle emergency. Connection lost. Is inadequately prepared. Smooth things over. Equipment failure. Catastrophe is currently on the move to the west of Forest. Charge straight ahead. Steady. Or platform. Closures pan. Equipment failure. Disassemble equipment and reuse the handle emergency. Ready up. Interesting. I don't think that's just an event or something. I think that's permanent. Interesting. What can I buy with the inhibitor? Just some mats, huh? Just kind of like a regular event, almost. Well, I guess because this was the anniversary event, they mixed it up. And I already have the legacy costume for Siege, so that's fine. And also Scene's tokens. Although I should probably definitely get these module data blocks, since I just got done saying how annoying what to get. But then again, I guess I do also need a lot of polymerization preps. Alright, this doesn't look like it's gonna be too bad at all. Manville's trooper with Ursula's help. Paprika. Hey, stay still. Let's run for it. What are you talking about? Haven't you noticed the mercenaries under W all gone? The military commission's troops must have arrived. All the more reason to not run around and get caught in the crossfire. Don't forget it was the military commission that hired us. If they come, it's curtains for the guys here. If we make a run for it, we can explain things to Manfred. If you want to go back to him, he'll just send you back to Victoria to kill more people. Is that what you want? You think we have a choice? What do you think the general will do to us when he finds out we surrendered? I'll run errands if they tell me to run errands. I'll kill if they tell me to kill. Whatever it takes to survive. If you want to stay, it's your choice, then I'm going. Bye. Oh, he ran off only to immediately get hit by a nuke. By a bomb. 50 hours in the operation. Aren't you the lucky one, Major Sala? It's not every day you get to lose a critical objective, be captured by the enemy, and still make it lose a critical objective, be captured by the enemy, and still make it back all in one piece. Looks like you got along well with your old Scar Market buddies. Watch your tone, Najir. It's not your place to judge my failure. Regardless of the circumstances, Major Sala's survival is good news for the military commission. General Manfred, I know about the Sanguinarch's death. You could explain later. As for now, I hope you've returned something of value. I have the skeleton's location and the details about the mercenaries guarding it. Is that all? Sounds like it would have been more worth it if you'd stayed in the hands of those mercenaries. I want to hear what you think. The mercenaries are trying to reawaken the Farenmut skeleton. Whatever their plans are, it has something to do with them. I still don't know what they're plotting, but they don't have a lot of people guarding the skeleton for some reason. Is Hodor among them? Yes. Surround the canyon. Take back the spine no matter the cost. Yes, sir. General Manfred, the upcoming battle? You won't be needed. Stay in the rear. Yes, sir. As a precaution, may I ask, what are your plans if you're unable to take the back of the skeleton quickly? I don't enjoy hypotheticals, Ursula. Manfred's troops are here. They're a little earlier than expected. What about the Royal Court's men? Nothing from Ursula. She got away. It's my fault. We'll talk about this later. Where's W? She went inside to scout. Worst case, she'll run to the enemy before we do. If Ursula got back to Manfred, they may have information of our current location and defenses. We're significantly outnumbered. A prolonged fight does not favor us. It's been about 50 hours since the Docks team set out. Any news? Nothing. We'll have to hold out until the agreed time. Given our odds, the only way to hold off the military commission for a day is if they were struck by a catastrophe. But as things stand, even the catastrophes are at their command. The military commission won't let this weapon fall into our hands and threaten the aerial supremacy. They'll come at us with everything they have. We'll have to take the chance. What do you mean? The chance that Manfred doesn't want to destroy the skeleton either. I hope you know Manfred as well as you think you do. One last question. What happens if we don't get word from the doctor when the agreed time has passed? Then we abandon it. There's no point in fighting to the death. Evacuation comes first. Our main priority is always keep as many people alive as we can. Reasonable. No objections. There's another way that might delay the Royal Court's attack. Killing their commander. Ascalon. Agreed. I'll kill him. It's freezing. I don't want to admit it, but I can feel my heart race. Damn, stop trembling. It's just like that time when I had to face Tallulah alone. No, it's even worse. The strange figure must be the master of those monsters and this realm. Yet I sense no hostility, as if my presence is not even worth his attention. He just keeps hacking away these crystallized bones with his axe, without even looking all at my way. Did he kill all these people? I have my finger on my trigger, but I can't move it an inch. Pull yourself together, W. Haven't you seen your fair share of monsters by now, both literal and figurative? Find out who he is. What this cavern has to do with Theresa. Pry it out of his mouth if that's what it takes. Alright, I don't have time to waste on you, you sorry piece of wood. I have a few questions, and your answers decide if my next move is to throw bombs at your face or not. This is a Confessarius altar. Are you a Confessarius? Clank, clank. The relentless and haunting sound of the axe striking bone echoes as if carrying the weight of errors forgotten. He slowly opens his mouth. I am a servant of Quathari, the king of Sarkaz. The bloodline of king perseveres through life and death. If he who serves the king is a Confessarius, then a Confessarius I am. So you can talk. I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself before I shoot. Who is this place? What does that have to do with Confessari? Korakada, the key. But this key opens no door, not anymore. Now I am merely the warden of this deep, dark tomb. What are you talking about, a tomb? The countless heroes of Kazdel. For who? The countless heroes of Kazdel, the foes who died, and the foes who died at their hands. The Grave Bearer, the Magnificent Eight, the Brave 11, all fallen through the course of history, and I have buried many of them. Here lies the weapons and armor, remnants of the past. You must be joking, you knew all these people. Don't tell me you're as ancient as the old hag. I don't know why you old freaks keep clinging to the past. Are you gonna let yesterday's bad jam stop you from eating today? Okay, I need to workshop that. Many emerged from that epoch of heroes, becoming the new hope of Sarkaz time and again, but all of them failed, joining the ashes of dust in this tomb. You stand upon the sword of Kilon, the wrathful cerulean flame. Theresis left it here because he refused to use it. Still, it's not proper to step upon it. Quilon, isn't he a character from those myths and legends? You're not playing me for a fool, are you? Damn, I took a step back without even realizing it. Why should I believe him? Why shouldn't I step on Quilon's sword, even if it was real? I have answered her questions, now you shall answer mine. Why do you trespass upon this place? Clank. The axe swings again. The shockwave almost makes W take another step back. I'm here to pick a fight with Confessari. What's that altar used for? Tell me or else. The mission of the altar has ended. No one visits the place anymore, except for the fools who stumble upon it. That strange fellow answered all my questions with flat interest. Clearly, he'd rather return to his work than with his axe and engage with me. I lashed out, but my anger was met with no response. It's like throwing stones into a bottomless pit. What did he mean? He's not with them? Shouldn't he have come after me with his axe the moment the words left my mouth? Hey, I'm talking to... The smoke clears, but the gaunt figure remembers upright. I think I could take him with a single bomb, but didn't think I could take him out with a single bomb, but seriously, he doesn't even have a single scratch? Futile. This vessel will never change again. A failed vessel that's been denied both eternal life as the instrument of the crown's coming, and the sweet release of death. So you're one of the Confessari's failed experiments. You feel bad? I could free you from your suffering. It is but futile. The man swings his axe and bats away W's bomb while swatting a fly. Good, I got a response. That means there's a chance. The bomb falls exactly where I expected to. A section of Catherine collapses, trapping him, but not enough to kill him. I point my gun. You said the Confessari made you indestructible. Let's see if I can't blow a hole in your brain at this range. The Confessari likes their experiments, do they? Did you guys make those big-headed moths, the disgusting den of monsters? Cut the poetry and answer. Do you know Theresa? The Exalted One has had the honor of seeing that King of Sarkaz. This is where the the tragic king was reborn. How did they do it? The Confessari brought the king's bloodied body back and cut her soul from the myriad, but she was already entwined within the myriad and could no longer exist as herself. W turns around towards the altar. The menacing building looks unnerving as it smells faintly of blood. What happened here? I dare not think about it, but I can't stop myself. Why? The present of Sarkaz needed her to die. The future of Sarkaz needed her to live. As the king, she gave her all, her spirit and wisdom, blood and bone. You followed the king's path as her former subject, but she is no longer the one you knew. I saw her awakening, the sorrow in her face, the weight upon her soul, and the eternal torment. Enough. She was a sacrifice to the myriad souls to Kazdel, all the past and future Sarkaz. I said shut up. I've had enough. Doctor, there's all of you. All of you have big dreams and ambitions. You talk about doing great things, but did it change anything? People keep dying. People who should die, the people who shouldn't, the people who really shouldn't. You won't even let her have her final rest. To hell with the myriad souls and the suffering of Sarkaz. Why does a person have to bear this burden? All of you can go to hell, hobble this place, all desecration to oblivion. Dust fills the cavern. The decrepit ornaments lie in ruins, yet the explosions are not enough to quench her anger. In the deepest reaches of the cavern, a lone altar Door remains. A lone altar resembling a door remains. What's this? Your Highness? W pushes the door open. Oh right, there's a fight going on here, isn't there?
Reap not what's sown by malice.
Oh, lovely. More slugs that explode on death. That's not going to be a massive frustration.
The landscape here is treated.
May the war grant us the redemption we seek.
Oh, I see. They get destroyed by that altar. Interesting.
Tell me what you require, and I will deliver.
Yeah, there's gonna be some gimmick here. This can't be this easy.
Eight of the wind. We two can soar through the skies.
Yeah, that guy's gonna bring Lessing. See if you can kill him.
For your own sins. I've long been ready.
Ideal.
War. A word I've not heard in a long, long time.
Eight of the wind. We two can soar through the skies.
Oh crap, they leave pollution behind. That's gonna be such a pain.
I'm in position.
They can't be blocked, but I can at least deal damage.
Surrender now if you don't want to get sawed in half. This battlefield would do well with a splash of ink.
I have received enlightenment.
Doctor, take flight.
Crap. That is way more of the damage than I can handle, apparently.
If you'll really sow the mountains when summer leaves a white dew, seed the plains when equinox paints russet hue.
Yeah, that one's going there specifically to pick it up in case you killed the other one fast enough.
I'll go someplace, and the only thing to hold a sword back is the cowardice of its wielder. You can call me earlier next time.
And thus has Autumn made reckoned her arrival. Truly evocative.
I have received enlightenment.
Agony, ever etched on our hearts.
Alright, that could have been worse. That definitely could have been worse. And we beat it on adverse environment, right? Pretty sure it did. It would cost a lot of MP, a lot of stamina. Found you. Crazy, you're crazy, like they said. I'm glad you already know. Then you must also know what I do to those who won't tell me what I want to know. Now talk. What are you people playing in Casdale? What's behind this overly simple operation? Don't act like I'm stupid just because I don't care about the ins and outs of Theros' giving up Casdale. You didn't break free of my witchcraft. How long do you think it can last? Until you beg for death on your knees and spat out everything you know? Ha! Mercenary. You think you're the special one who gets to live? Everyone does until death finally comes to them. Death forgets no one. The myriad souls are waiting. You won't escape and neither was she. It's all futile. And what about you? Me? I'm happy to embrace my death. Say goodbye to weakness, sarcasm. As a new era is dawned, it belongs to us, even though there's no place for me in us. W, your hand. Medic, we need a medic. Damn, he triggered the grenade himself. With the sarcasm's death, his art ceased. The mire fades and the stench of decay dissipates. Yet why does the wilderness around them remain so dark? A sense of unease deepens. The expression on the sarcasm warriors as they died is one of devotion. Why would such an expression appear on the faces of men like them? Were you able to get in touch with HQ? Inter-squad communication has been partially restored. Heavy interference still prevents us from reaching headquarters, though. It's possible Originium is spreading in the area. Activity spreading in the area. No need to worry, though. We haven't heard of any attacks from HQ on HQ. Plus, they have Her Highness and the Doctor there. We're one step away from winning this war. Where's the vehicle? We're going back now. But we haven't received further instructions. We could upset the Doctor's plans. Wait, I'm getting a message from Scout. Scout says... Babel was merely a temporary refuge, no different from countless others before it, or so W believed. True, there was always clean food and water, and badly wounded were not just left there to die. A few interesting guys around, but at the end of the day it was all the same, just a place to stay. It was not the first time W lost her home before she joined up with Hodor and Inez. Sometimes she would return to camp and find it in flames, sometimes she was the one who set it on fire. It was what she was used to. No Sarkaz truly believes in peace and quiet. Destruction was the norm, conflict was the spice of life. When she collapsed the columns, the blood stained the corridors, the Doctor yelling instructions, for the first time she felt a profound sense of collapse. What happened? Out of the way, out of the way, make the way for the wounded, make the room for the sick bay. Out of the way. Where's Her Highness? No idea, all security systems have failed. Dr. Calcidus looked out. Did you do this? Sarkaz, it's over. Don't say that. Now I see. Her blood was no different from ours. Everything turns dark once more. The curse, like a curse that refuses to lift. Darkness engulfs the light, consuming it completely. No one can escape the night. The war is over, along with its strife. Listen, Sarkaz, victory belongs to... A blade penetrates the assassin's chest. Babel didn't give you any orders, W. What are you doing here? You want to talk to me about violating orders? Now? Ascalon looks at her. W worked with Ascalon for a while now, but this is the first time she saw the look upon her face, look in her eyes. She did not even know that Ascalon was capable of such sorrow. Is what Scout said true? She shouldn't have come back, not now. Where's Her Highness? Sweep the ship, W. Rhodes Island's not out of danger yet. Dr. Calcid's busy dealing with emergencies. We're the only ones. I'm asking you, where's Theresa? Go with the mobility level. That's the most likely point of entry. Are you bloody deaf? You said she's dead. I want to see it with my own eyes. Listen to me, Sarkaz Mercenary W. Fulfill your duty, unless you want Babel to fall and all our effort to be for naught. You're all worthless, all of you worthless. Whatever trust you, whatever believe you could. Nothing's changed, nothing ever did. All high and mighty, were they not? Everyone on the ship? Didn't they spend all their time talking about dreams and lofty ideals? Why couldn't they even protect one person? All the things they said, the things I thought could be. I was the fool who believed. I saw it, the blood and footprints in the chairman's room. There was nothing left. It's like nothing was ever there. The darkness was thick and sticky. It always is. Theresa is dead. I didn't even get to see her one last time. Your Highness, what are you doing here? The door, when did it get fixed? I guess closure is good for some after all, huh? The old hag, too. Rowan's and I stayed together barely after you were gone. She did her best, so did the little bunny. I guess I did my part, too. I wanted to see you again ever since I got to Londinium. I wondered when I could. I never understood why you always put yourself through so much. Just like I never understood why you cared so much about that broken door. Theresa's gone. Well, then who's standing right here? No, I must be dreaming. Why would Her Highness talk to me? Am I talking to myself? But the work of the Sarkaz is not done. I will give myself to our cause. For the future of all of us that can sleep without fear. I don't understand, but I believe you. What about you, then? Theresa turns around and pushes the door. It opens. Theresa walks to the door, followed by countless silhouettes. Their voices booming, their questions piercing. The Sarkaz will never be saved. No one can escape suffering for what we had once suffered. No one can escape for once we have hated. All the senseless deaths, all the shattered hopes. Where is paradise? Where is peace? Theresa's steps are slow and heavy. W opens her mouth. What should she say? What could she say? She finally realizes this was not a conversation she just experienced, but an echo of Theresa. But she could not resist asking the shadow, how can I save you, Your Highness, if you're still alive? Keep going. You will go further than I ever have. How will I know I've gone far enough? If I killed you, you will be saved? Will you be saved? There's no answer. She does not turn back, neither do the silhouettes. The footsteps are slow, but the directions are unwavering. Alright, so basically we're in the... Basically that one scene of Final Fantasy VII where they go in the life stream and see the echoes of the past. Including someone who... including it needed to be done for someone to get over their past trauma, fittingly enough. Your Highness. W finally lets out what she's been holding back. Screw the mirrored souls, screw their suffering. I'll bring peace to you. Maybe you never truly had peace, but screw it, I'll end it all for you, Your Highness. Did she see Theresa stop for a brief moment? She's not sure. She shimmers on and blends the light. Darkness returns once more. What was that? You heard the king's echo. You're alive? Qualica appears behind W without her realizing. Nor the bombs nor the falling rocks left a mark on him. He comes up and gently closes the door. Her Highness has left. How could you be so calm? I just blew up your home. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If destruction's inevitable, why despair when it finally comes? You don't let things get to you, I give you that. Honestly, I'm starting to find you interesting. Aren't you supposed to be really powerful? Didn't any of the sarcastic things try to send you to do something useful? The one I serve, Quisiraj, transcends history itself. He's a colossal titan in the vast river of time. I followed him in his wars, my sword an instrument of death at his command, but my body a failed vessel at extending his life. I guess even the craziest among us have their loyalists. The experiment failed. Unable to fulfill my destined purpose, I banished myself to this realm. I'm of no more use, only fit to gather the remnants of bygone heroes to mourn the past. I've been waiting for someone to open the door of the future. I thought Theris would be the one to do so. You... The gaunt figure picks up the broken altar fragments on the ground and grinds them into fine dust. He trails the powder down his cheeks with his finger, creating two streaks that resemble tears. Her Highness Theris has gone. You've picked up her last echo. The King of Sarkaz's old subject. Your presence here may not be a coincidence, young Sarkaz. You know what? I think so too. I gotta leave a souvenir in the Confessori's nest. He looks down and feels several bombs at his feet. Why? When did you? You know what? Of all the old freaks I've met, you're one of the more interesting ones. But I couldn't leave a Confessorius without leaving a present behind. What's your name, mercenary? Find it on Theris's tombstone.
Once painting and war were quite different. But with this power, battle is art.
Anything interesting in these? Sadly, not really. That was a little more interesting, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm really feeling exhausted, so I think I should call it for now. Well, good news is Chapter 14 is not cursed, so I can continue on with this next. Well, next time I'm gonna be doing my multiplayer stream with the buddies, but as soon as those are complete, I'll be getting back to this, because I want to see where this goes. Well, until next time, thank you for watching. Hope you had a good time. I'll see you later.